Tankers, Captain Taito here for another episode of What Monthly. This May you can farm credits in Frontline, embrace the competitiveness of Onslaught, or simply check out the rewards you can pick up along the way. Let's get into things, shall we? Kicking things off, Onslaught season of the Jade Dragon is in full swing, running until the end of the month. If you're playing Onslaught, now is your time to push. This year's annual reward, the Ashbringer, is on the line, alongside progression rewards and the Bond Shop, with better discounts as your rank increases. Expect tough competition as you move up the ranks. The AMD OLS Season 6 is well underway, so tune in and check out the action on our official Twitch channel. Date shown here. And yes, there'll be OLS tokens for tuning in. All this builds towards the finals on May 30th and 31st. If you're planning to watch anything this month, make it the finals weekend. Be sure to spend those OLS tokens before June 8th, by the way. You don't want to lose them. Can't wait for the finals? The Onslaught Mega Platoon returns later this month, with the Killzone leading a team of 6 other content creators into battle. If you're up for the challenge, you can jump in and face them, or form a team of your own and try and take them down. Otherwise, tune in, enjoy the show, and earn some drops. Frontline returns from May 4th. If you need credits, this is your best opportunity this month. Load up your tier 8s and jump into large-scale battles where consistent performance pays off. And if you know of any friends who haven't played in 60 days or more, make sure they log in and claim their bonuses before May 7th. May brings the anniversary of Victory Day in Europe. You'll see special missions, discounts, and themed bundles. And importantly, there are credit discounts on researchable and collectible vehicles. The event is a good opportunity to pick up rewards while we take a moment to reflect upon the historical significance behind it. Starting May 15th, each weekend brings happy hours during prime time for the rest of the month, with missions for extra credits and experience. This month's Boosteroid content comes with a boxing theme, including a unique commander and themed customizations. There's also an updated tank roster for 6-month subscribers, so it's a good opportunity to step into the ring and check out what's new. And for something a little different, we couldn't bring a real mouse to the office, but First Legion have created 300 of these 1/30th scale mouse boost and shift models, just the right size for your desk. So what's your plan for the month? Frontline for credits? Or Onslaught for competition? Thanks for watching, but for now, I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.
The final Onslaught season and the annual cycle will launch with some exciting new features. Now, during the countdown, each team can vote to ban one vehicle, which will become unavailable for all players on both teams. This gives you a chance to exclude the most dangerous enemy vehicle for you and its copies, or propose to ban the least useful vehicle from your own team. If your vehicle ends up banned, you'll have enough time to choose another one. You can learn all the details about this feature in the Portal article. The airfield map has been fine-tuned to better suit the 7v7 format. Erlenberg and Safe Haven have also been adjusted a little. The Dravettes, Caro 45T, and Ares 90 have joined the list of vehicles available in Onslaught. The roll skill of the latter has been modified to support its unique firing mechanic. Available for free rental this season are the Object 140, Foch B, and T57 Heavy. The now rentable vehicles come with consumables, equipment, shells, and 4 perk crews. Only the shells and consumables can be changed. In addition, the 114 SP2 is now available for purchase starting from the Silver League, not the Gold. Remember that this launch concludes the Year of the Dragon. This is your chance to get the super rare Ashbringer.
Heart of a lion, will of a champion. Ain't even trying, just get them amped up. If you got a problem, I'm the answer. Stand up, everybody hands up. I'm unstoppable. I ain't gonna stop till I
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series Season 6 banter. Another day ready to see some gaming and hopefully some close matches.
Yeah, we've got probably the banger of the day. We always seem to put them at the beginning. Cashback versus W. It's definitely going to be an exciting one with some pretty good games later on as well, actually.
Bringing up the schedule here, guys, just to make you aware of next week. We're only streaming on Tuesday, and we're having a mid-season break, and then we're back the week after on the 19th. And of course, the 30th and the 31st will be the playoffs. That means we will see who becomes champions in EU, but also champions on NA, the respective OLF also happening there as well. So that is a lot of stuff to look forward to. Today, very simple, again, for your token earnings will be 5, but also the prize pool, 46,534 euros at this moment in time, which you can still contribute to by getting one of those fancy little bundles, with the Oracle bundle being the primary one to put your eye towards. If you do end up guessing or knowing the team that will end up winning the OLS, you'll get an upgraded badge and style. Banter, did you decide yet? I know Kiahan hasn't.
Considering that Lotus bundle, but not yet. I think I've seen enough to decide on a winner. I mean, again, Hit and Run and Mafia looking pretty strong, but Weekend, they're up and coming right now.
Can they bring it home? That is a good question. Would be an interesting one if Weekend won the OLS. Probably a lot of bundles ruined then in that regard. But I mentioned it already. Token earnings today 5, in the weekend 5 as well. The only thing you really got to keep your eye peeled for is, of course, the final weekend, giving 10 tokens on each day. That will be a large percentile of your token earnings, which can get you towards the rewards in the store: E75TS, Scorpion, SU, Styles, Premium Days, Consumables, Reserves, everything a man needs in his journey to become a great gamer in World of Tanks.
Beautifully said, beautifully said. Yeah, some fantastic rewards. I mean, at the end of the day, it's free. You're going to watch it anyway. Why not get the rewards for it?
Now, the standings. Hit and Run, surprisingly, honestly, currently in the lead with 11 points, only dropping 1 point against CTR, which is also the only point CTR has so far, and they need to start picking up the pace if they want to make it to Phase 2, because right now, Sicarios 5 points ahead. They need 2 matches to even get towards that. I mean, Cashback is also at 6, but between Sicarios and Cashback, Sicarios probably the more likely team to lose a few matches.
Yeah, Sicarios have some difficult matches coming up. Today they play Hit. Next play day they're going to be playing Mafia. So CTR, it's kind of out of their hands now. They need to win, of course, but they need Sicarios to lose. And looking at the rest of the lineups, I mean, W, finally they were, I think, 6th after the previous play day, but they've gone up quite a bit. Weekend still in a pretty dominant position. I think Cashback's the biggest surprise, only with 6 points in that 5th position. Not really in threat of elimination just yet, but I mean, you'd expect them to be a bit higher at this point in the season. You
would, but they've also had a lot of hard matches, though, if you're Cashback. I think they still have maybe their easier matches to play, if I'm not mistaken.
Today it's Mafia, next play day it's going to be Weekend, and after that CTR. So yeah, they probably have, in theory, their easier play days in the days to come, but still, I mean, they took points from Lotus and they haven't really been able to take any points from the big boys. You know, if you're one of those top 4 teams, you've got to at least be contesting with your rivals of Run and W.
For sure. Cashback needs a good showing here. Maybe even take some points, to be honest, because you don't want to be lingering on those bottom positions for too long, especially for a team like Cashback that has been pretty dominant throughout regular seasons. Not once, not twice, but a few times across. So schedule for today. Cashback W starting it off. Weekend Mafia, another banger. Then Lotus versus CTR, a battle of the bottom of the league. An important one, nonetheless. And then Hit versus Sicarios, an important one for whoever wins between Lotus and CTR. Obviously, they would want Sicarios to not take any points there.
Yeah, that third match, it's more important than it looks. I think the loser of that match, not sure there'll be any opportunity to get to the second stage. So that's one where, you know, you pull out your best tactics because it's now or never.
I mean, there's not much point to keep anything behind. W team also that regular season doesn't seem to be their vibe most of the time.
No, I remember on the last play day of season 5, they barely scraped through. I think they got one place ahead of Mafia on points difference, but yeah, they were almost out. So, but I mean, nobody really remembers that except me. You only really remember the victories. You know, the fact that they won the playoffs. So no matter how badly you perform in groups, as long as you make playoffs, you can always succeed there. But strong lineups on both of these teams. Cashback gaining Barbarian, as we've said before, from Hit and Run, seems to be well, for Hit it seems losing him has been positive. For Cashback it seems it's been a bit negative because they're just not in the high position they wanted to be in.
No, for sure, it's not the position they would ever opt to be in. I think either of those want to be a bit higher. Little highlight player is always very solid, and some flashbacks coming back to mind from the previous match. Cashback, some T100 of Bilson. That was rough.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, even at this top level, it can make mistakes. I mean, that was a game they should never lose. It was a very interesting game. A lot of yeah, it was not good. One to forget, but you know, Little's been very consistent, even, you know, having this high average damage per game, even playing a low DP tank like type, still quite impressive.
It is indeed. He's also, just in general, across seasons, performing very, very solid. It's either him or Barbarian we highlight. Barbarian not having a good match on Tuesday, if I remember well.
No, but his average damage is pretty solid, especially for leading. I mean, Little was leading Cashback in the previous season. He was also the highest on damage then, so that kind of lead from the front mentality is really good. You know, like, you know it as well as I do. To lead and play the game at a high level, it can be difficult because obviously you need to be looking at the minimap most of the time, and you need to be kind of coordinating people. And you shouldn't really be the highest damage when you're leading. You need the team to kind of put you on your back when you're controlling many aspects of the game. But community predictions slightly in favor of Cashback. Our predictions are quite interesting, actually.
I mean,
Phil's prediction has changed again. It keeps changing.
Feel free to.
It said 3-1 for W earlier. It's changed to 3-1 for Cashback now. It keeps changing it.
Maybe it's flip-flopping. What did I predict?
You predicted 3-1, same as me.
Cashback, right?
Oh, for Cashback, yeah. Keyhand went 3-2, which for W, which basically means we've already won because we've gone the opposite of Keyhand. So
I don't look at Keyhand's predictions. I stay away from those at all times. I'm smarter than that, I think.
I say nothing.
I mean, I hope so, at least, you know. But maps. Runeberg is going to be the very first one between these two. And then it's going to be Sand River as the second one. No Pilsen in this. We could still get it later, though.
Maybe. I mean, Cashback, they lost 2-0 against Hit and Run on their play day on Runeberg. So they've not had the best experience so far. Sand River, I think, is a map that both teams will be happy with. We've seen Cashback pick it before. We've seen W pick it before. I think they're both going to be very comfortable on this. And Westfield, that for a tiebreak is an interesting one. The new map is quite interesting, the way, you know, you have the cap in the upper spawn, multiple strikes. It's a very open map, so light tanks can be in play. Same with strike mediums. So quite a dynamic one. That's obviously the teams won't have played it as much as the other maps, but Runeberg being the first one, the pick and bans, the tank bans are going to be really, really important.
For sure. I mean, we usually see the Type 5 or the E4 ban, but then also 50B and 57 end up being banned. It's kind of hard on Runeberg to ban everything that is good to be played, though. That is an interesting part about that, because, you know, it has that variety in that regard. You know, the 57, 50B, E4, Type 5, they're all very playable. Forge B.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I think if I was W, I'd be banning that type. I mean, we've seen actually quite a lot of cashback on Runeberg in the previous days. In the previous play day, they played Lotus on Runeberg as well, and we saw how the types can really perform some nice positive trading. Obviously, it is Lotus; they are one of the weakest seeded teams. But yeah, looking at the caster predictions, I actually predicted 3-1, so this is wrong. But if it's 3-2, I'll take the points anyway.
Hey,
Ian also went 3-1 for W. It's a hard one to predict because both of these teams haven't performed to the expected level.
I think it's just about who gets a better start, you know?
Yeah, but Runeberg is one of those. It's not like Cliff where there's a lot of luck in it, right? Where maybe you put 7 tanks up, but they put 7 tanks lower, and you kind of just counter them. Like Runeberg is a pretty simplistic map. There's no info points, but it's very easy to get the info. A lot of tight corners and lanes, so it tends to be a lot of like E4, as you said, E4 type, TP7, 50B. You don't really. It's either over in 2 minutes or over in 10 minutes. So I'm not sure who really has the advantage. I put it slightly in favor of Cashback because they played quite a lot of this map. But yeah, we'll need to see. You got any anticipations on what the score will be at the end of this round? Do you think it'll be 1-1 or?
I think whoever wins the first round wins the second, no matter what way we're looking at it. I have that feeling that somebody's going to run away with it. That's the way I predicted as well. Equipment choice is also an interesting one. 57s from W are going with Vents. The 57s from Cashback are going with Grousers. It's those small differences, of course. Clear for the Binos as well. Giving us a little bit of an insight of how the teams want to play.
Yeah, I'm a Vents enjoyer type, not being banned on both sides, but neither team taking it is a big surprise for me. It seems the meta is moving a little bit away from type. E100 being taken by Little is an interesting one. Just, it's pretty good against those T57s, you know, those big tracks. They absorb heat shells quite nicely, but Cashback have a really aggressive lineup. 3 430Us, the Inspire medium of the 140 and the T57s with an E100 to take the hits. They might be doing a kind of Lotus-esque push where they go over the field, the zero line with these 430Us, and they try and catch out Clurf in the Bosch B. He does have the binos there who can spot the artillery strike. T57's going inside.
We saw this before, no?
ATP. Yeah, we did. This was by Lotus. Lotus made this push. I think Mentos does see all 3, which is really important. Gives one shot to Mindbreaker, and that's going to tell Clurf that he has to go further back into a more defensive position.
The ball's starting to open up against Aphrodite. Hits 1, hits 2. Now Aka's the next one. I don't think that Cashback will continue down this road that they have set upon. Aka is slowly moving forward though, and now you can see all of the W guns coming back. Type 5, T57 heavy and a 60p, but like Liberty and Barbarian want to get Mentos out of the game here. They're just pushing straight forward. Liberty is going in, Barbarian kind of sticking behind. They need one more shot on him. It's going to be Liberty with the kill. Was that a fire? After all, I don't know, he seemed live for a second there, but immediately Liberty dies in return, and Cashback down quite a bit on this initial approach. W seemed to be pretty aware of the 4-to-the-U push that Lotus did indeed, and they were spotting it out, giving them ample time to react, and Cashback is trying. I mean, this 57, Itox is in a little bit of a predicament as well, maybe going a little bit too far in that 60p, but Squeezy will die for this one though, nonetheless in his 140. He does one more and he is out, and now it's just 4 from Cashback versus 6 from W.
Yeah, Barbarian opts to run, not clip out the 60 TP, but he's still on reload. Mindbreaker being clipped by Lukin. Clurf picks it up. Barbarian will be off reload in a moment, but he doesn't have the shells to clip anyone. Little tries to give a shot, so Barbarian, if he gets the damage rolls, he can kill Ios, but doesn't connect to one, so Ios will survive this. Barbarian will do his last and die. And with that, really nice timing by Mentos to take the high ground in that T57 and spot this zero-line approach. We saw it the other day with Lotus.
Lotus lost that round, no?
Yeah, they lost it. They killed the Foch, and then they made a full rotation and tried to keep up the aggression, but they kept the bleed. You know, it's one of those fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, or however the expression goes. But I mean, Lotus, if they had maybe parked the brakes, they probably would have won that game. But Cashback trying to replicate it, but Mentos kind of sniffed that one out, and if those 430Us can cross that zero line and catch Clurf in the Foch, it could have been a different game.
Could have been, but in this case, you know, they spotted out, 57 start clipping now, W's already returning with their tanks, aiming at the crossing. I think if they keep going for Klurv, they lose 2 for the use for that. So they opted to stop, but then Cashback comes in from behind. But they're always behind in this kind of battle.
Yeah, they're always like kind of 2 steps behind, because obviously the T-57s have clipped into the 430Us, and then Cashback's T-57s tried to come in, but the thing is, by the time they arrive, because T-57s aren't that quick, W's T-57s are about halfway done with the reload. That's the nice thing about the T-57 compared to the 50B. The reload difference might only be about 4 or 5 seconds, but that T-57 does have the quicker clip reload, so you can clip, reload, clip again, and then the T-57s from Cashback's side are just in a bad position. I think, who was it, Liberty went in. There's a bit of a weird moment where he kills Mentos, at least on our screen, without having any shells. Barbarian opts not to go with him. And yeah, they're always in a worse, but they're always 2 steps behind W. Or W will just have the better positions. They'll be able to, they get the initial punish. And it's a really hard round for Cashback to win after those 430Us get spotted. Because that's like the trap, right? That's the whole idea. You send those 430Us unspotted to kill Klurf. The moment they're spotted, the jig is up, and it becomes a really hard game to win.
It did become a really hard game, and they couldn't win it either. It's W that runs away with it. And yeah, an interesting style by both teams. Pretty aggressive in terms of the tank picks, not that many Type 5s. Cashback tries to surprise, and you know, you got to be careful. Like I said, in this best of 5, I really feel like W might run away with it now. It's just the kind of nature of a best of 5 almost.
Yeah, momentum. Because, you know, momentum, when you win that first game, you do get a bit of momentum, but it can run out. So that's why in a best of 7, we see a lot of remontadas after the 3-0 win ends up becoming 4-3. I'm not sure that this one goes 2-0 to W, though. I do feel like Cashback has something in the tank, but this is quite a surprising tactic by Cashback. You know, normally they wouldn't play this type of almost baity, surprisey strat. That's something more we'd see from a team like CTR or Lotus, but so it's quite surprising. Maybe a bit of unconfidence by Cashback, but the lineups, double Dravik, 1 mouse, triple T-57 and a Blisker on the Cashback side.
W in return, they banned the Type 5, triple for 3U, double Forge B, a Band, and a T-57 Heavy. Seems from the north that triple for 3U very popular. Be surprised if they go for a similar opening though.
Yeah, it would be. The Batchat's an interesting one as well. Like, the 430Us, you go for straight fights, but the Batchat's interesting. With that clip, double Fosh as well. It's a really aggressive lineup by W. They kind of need to force an engagement where they can fight Cashback in good positions, but it's not that easy. They have that E100, the double Dravik as well, with the heat shield on the side and the lower plate. Can cause a bit of trouble for heat shooting tanks like the 430U. Liskevitzer as well is also a tough nut to crack. Initial info, minimal for both teams, but it could be big. Both teams opting to commit into the strike. The 430Us have the more DPM.
They do have more DPM for this. Coming on towards Liberty and Little, but they're in a pretty good hold on. IOS, however, is in crossfire. This could be what W needs, and now Lookin fancies a little bit of a push here even against Liberty and Little. IOS is indeed on the side, and Little realizing this has to back off. Liberty taking 1 more from IOS, good focus fire, but Klurf in the meantime in the city, maybe overextending a little bit in that Forge B, looking for Mindbreaker down towards 1.1k. Brainbreaker coming in now with his own T-57 Heavy. Klurf taking some more damage. This is not what you want to see from this Forge B, kind of isolated in no man's land, and because of this, W is making a reaction here on towards Little. The city is looking like a disaster for W. We'll have to keep our eyes trained on that, what happens there. Klurf is almost down, but Little joins the grave first. Klurf will join him there, and now the tanks from W trying to scatter away from that city area. They still had to leave a T-57 Heavy behind, and Liberty doing a good job there at disengaging, forcing IOS to continue chasing, and Brainbreaker left to his own devices will be picked up, but does make his clip against Barbarian, and the Shrike coming out as well drops Barbarian to 550. Liberty will do 1 more because IOS managed to bounce, and Brainbreaker is about to die.
He might get another clip actually. Brainbreaker has only about 5 seconds off the reload, and he will reload before Mindbreaker, so Brainbreaker could pick up Barbarian here, which could be really important. Opts to shoot Mindbreaker, doesn't make the kill on Barbarian, but importantly, Barbarian is 1 strikeable. Akka takes a bit of damage from Mentos. Mentos now running away, but HP is just dire for Cashback at the moment. The tanks might be equal, but Squeezy can't pick up Itox, so he will go down. Barbarian goes down. Lukin takes a lot for that, but most importantly is that Lukin won't die. both of these Clippers are on reload. Mindbreaker will die before he gets his reload off, and the ball picks him up. Aphrodite getting sandwiched between 3 of them, and now just Acheron is lonesome. This felt quite similar to the previous round in the way that Cashback just felt 2 steps behind these 430Us. They caught the Dravix and killed them just that little bit quicker than Cashback could clean up the city.
Yeah, and even you could say W could go for those Dravixes a little bit quicker than what they did now, because they only reacted because Klurf was kind of on an adventure in the city, was going to die, and they react to that immediately, which is a reaction they could have done beforehand already. So Cashback even a little bit lucky that W didn't instantly pull the trigger on towards those 2 tanks on the outside, because if they did, this game would have been decided already long before. Klurf does do 5 shots, of course, which is the good thing about that, because in return, look at Liberty and Little. Double L there for them. 1.7k for Liberty, we're rounding down, and 1k for Little. Not what you want from those tanks.
No, it's just a bad engagement for a Dravik, right? It's flat ground against tanks with 430Us that have the funny button. That's like probably nearly at least 1.5 times the DPM. There's also 3 of them against the 2 Draviks. So that was always a really bad engagement. I'm not sure what happened with Klurf, maybe some miscommunication. And as well, you know, these Foshers, they don't do well. They do well on flat, straight terrain. When there's corners, when there's little ups and downs, it's really negative. And fighting T-57's close quarters with these turns is never going to be good. So Klurf was just in a bad position no matter what. But he did almost his full clip. He survived for a fairly long time and bought good time for his team. But yeah, this was kind of lost on opener by Cashback. You know, 3 430Us against 2 Draviks, I know who's my money on. Like, no matter what the engagement is, those 430Us always had the advantage, and they're always going to be just that little bit quicker than Cashback on the other side. So, as you predicted, the team that won the first round ends up winning the second, and going into Sand River, it's looking dire for Cashback. I mean, neither of these rounds was close.
If only we were as good at predicting as I am at predicting what happened in this match this time, right?
Hey, I predicted 3-2.
Did you?
For Cashback.
I thought we... Ah, no, yeah, well, you have 3-1 on the sheet, so...
The sheet can be altered, as Phil well knows.
Roy, we have a history. Sand River, the next one. I didn't look. Who picked Sand River? Was it Cashback?
No, W.
Okay, well...
Cashback should have got clapped on their map pick. I think it's going to be 3-0. I've not seen, throughout this current season, every single game they've played, even against Sicarios in the first one where they won 3-0, it's still, some of the wins looked a little bit shaky. And I'm not seeing anything. I haven't seen much from W that inspires confidence, but I've seen even less from Cashback. And W do look like the far better team in these Runebergs. I'm concerned for Cashback at the moment.
Well, Sand River will be a lot slower, potentially, depending on how the teams play it out. The bans are in for 30U band and Dravid's band from W's side. Coming out with light on each team. Triple K91, a 140, and double Mivi for W.
Yeah, we've seen these K91s on Sand River before for W. IOS making a small mistake. No T100 this time. Quite surprised the SGRV hasn't been banned on either side. The side of the maps are going to be important, because obviously one team, the team with the westernmost spawn, tends to have a better approach to the cap circle. I guess that's going to be Cashback boosting in with double BZ. But if they try and do a fast cap strat, I mean, oh no, they do have the other side actually. But yeah, those triple strike mediums, obviously the K91's a bit of an awkward tank, but if you can make it work with that high DPM, it's so powerful. And initially with the plane, IOS and Brainbreaker being spotted, Barbarian has been lit on the Cashback side, and opening positions. Double Mivi for W going on that K line. That's going to be a really hard engagement for Cashback. They need some north control if they want to make this work.
They need control over something. Let's put it that way, which they don't have right now. Is anything. Squeezy has taken the middle strike, of course, but he could be reset there, which he hasn't been actually. Lucan taking a lot of damage from that in the 140, though they do not get the reset on Squeezy, and they take a lot of damage in return, to be honest. Looking down towards 1.5 for that. They really wanted to reset that K91 and they failed completely at that, and they took a lot of damage in return for it.
Yeah, the double 50Ms, they crossed over. They didn't take that much damage for that, but luckily Mentos, he had the foresight to run from that, so he's now in the buildings here. It's nice. Brainbreaker opted not to stay in that C5 pocket where the BZs would be able to crossfire him, so Brainbreaker's now kind of hiding. They do know he's around that area, and Lucan took a lot of damage for that. And it's not the K91 taking damage, it's the 430. This is risky, though. Liberty and Nepal, they spot each other out. Barbarian repushing, and the Mivy of Itox, he's forced to turn and rush. There's a timing here where Cashback getting the ball pretty cheap.
Everything's stuck in the middle, even for W as well. The BZ is kind of lording over. Nepal getting pushed by Barbarian immediately. Squeezy coming in as well. And like you said, Itox is still a little bit out of this fight. Some shot coming out from the middle of the map. Barbarian will find success, but Liberty, that peak was not worth it from the little RHM player there. Ends up taking quite a bit for that. Minus 1k for the peak. The strikes are coming back in, and Nepal trying to dodge. He does get past that strike that came in, and now Itox trying to shield. Can they keep Nepal alive? Barbarian with the whiff, actually, with the bounce. Itox should get the kill. He does find it, and here comes the RHM of Klorf, and then followed up by K91, but he has to be careful as well. Another whiff, this time from Itox, but Nepal gets one more. Itox versus Squeezy now in the 1v1 in the meantime. Miles getting pushed on by Mindbreaker and Aka as well. W doing some good damage towards Aka though. He's forced back. Mindbreaker can't really push this against this K91. He's getting clapped from Lucan in the base. That BZ starting to fall, and it's all starting to fall apart once more for Cashback here as they're unable to win this K-line. Mentos has arrived. Klurf has arrived. They're all dead. Liberty down and Squeezy to follow. It's all over for Cashback once more. The match of the day is going to turn into the defeat of the day for Cashback as they're trying to do all they can with one final repush here on towards this K-line, but it's just too little too late, as Little and Aphrodite are the last ones standing. Itox will even flip sides, and it's going to be W to pick it up 3-0.
Yeah, the great march of those E50Ms. I think they drove from B5 all the way to K5. They went through the entire map, and they're just not quick enough. It's such a strange decision to rotate those 50Ms all the way south. It takes them so long to get there. The engagement was already lost by the time they arrived. And now they're here just awkwardly on the K-line trying to make something work. Little dies to Brainbreaker. Aphrodite goes down to Itox, and this was just...
I'm gonna disagree with the timing to push though. Even if they hit everything, I don't know.
It's hard. Yeah, it is.
I think Barbarian pushing back up is great because it locks them maybe in position, and the BZs will own anything that comes to peak, but they should wait a little bit behind it.
But the BZs didn't shoot the tanks from W underneath them that were going to the K line. The RHM and the K91, I think of not meant.
They were peeking the K91 in the mid, but
I know, but that's not the most important engagement. The most important engagement is win the K line. The BZs are just meat. The IOS is not dealing damage.
I mean,
need to focus on the RHM.
Barbarian just needs to hold the K line, wait for one more rotation, and then he will own the middle tanks as well. When they can't peek Barbarian, they would have taken a lot of control back.
But even with another tank, it's still two Mivies against, and the. I know what you're saying. It's a hard engagement either way. I think Barbarian did have a timing to go for the 1v1. I think Klurf, I don't know why I don't know why Liberty just made the peak. You know, he does 300, takes 1,000. You either full commit or you don't. So he took a lot of damage for that, and he couldn't really then support Barbarian. But there was a timing where I think Cashback do win this K-line, and the BZs in the middle, they need to focus the tanks from W that are going to reinforce the K-line, being, I think it was Klurf and Brainbreaker who drove from the middle into the K-line. But yeah, W just feel ahead. You know what I mean?
I mean, they were ahead this whole game. I mean, in this battle, I think they were behind for a while, and at the start, though, like this was the one where I think initially they, opted to try and reset this artillery strike. Lost a lot for that, but then everything else that came after, they took it back almost instantly. That was highlight match of the day, I would say. It's turning into a quick 3-0 for they wish, for W. Weekend versus Mafia is the next one up. Today, all three of the first matches, in my opinion, are competitive matches in one way, or should have been competitive matches. The last one is the one where you kind of expect a certain result. The other ones are up for debate. And if that is going to be close match or not, we will have to find out after a few replays. W just continuing through. I don't think he's making it. That's going to be a lot of DPM. This will be a hard one for Mafia. It's not looking good. He's going to disappear. Pretty bad for Cashback. He's dead. They're doing damage, but they're not stopping this train of W tanks pushing forward. He's a one-shot Itox with one more kill. They can't really do anything. Haterman seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the second match of today. The first one, it was a steamroll, although I would say a little bit unexpectedly so, even more unexpected with the outcome, because I wasn't really believing when I, bet for W, but I was like, well, they have to start winning at some point, right? And today is as good a day as any, so yeah, let's see how this one goes. I think a little bit of a different setup here, though, Ducky.
Yeah, Weekend versus Mafia. If we remember, not last season, but the season before, it was actually Mafia that shut down the Weekend hype train, if you remember. They were on this massive hype train for many matches in a row, right? And then Mafia was actually the one to shut them down. Now, Weekend has been doing all right this season. Maybe Mafia will be the one to shut them down again.
Yeah, I mean, Weekend has, I believe, 2 victories so far, but the victories that Weekend had were against teams that realistically find themselves at the lower end of the scoreboard. So this in turn, of course, means that for Weekend, the harder opponents are actually still remaining. And of course, Mafia is definitely one of those. So they'll have to prove themselves if they want to make it not only into Stage 2, which I think at this point is not a given, but it's highly likely, but if they want to have a playoffs run, like they did already in Season 4. So let's see where this match is going to take us today. I think Mafia definitely just wanting to secure points for the seeding in the playoff stage and to just feel safe early in Phase 2. But yeah, Orzhek second by DPG so far in OLS Season 6. Man's been performing.
Man has been absolutely going insane, and they will need that against Weekend as well. All the points you gather here give you comfort in the second stage, right?
Yes, and this is why a lot of teams, they cannot relax at any point in time here, because those points that you get now, also against the weaker teams, those potentially could be the difference maker in the second phase as well. That's why we don't see any of the top dogs on the block really holding back against the weaker teams, because they also need everything they can get.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to worry, and you want to challenge those top positions as well for that extra comfort when it comes to the playoffs. The community seems to be pretty much decided that this one is going to be a stomp, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 84%, that is quite on the high side when it comes to community predictions. And, of course, Mafia favored here. I mean, they are the more accomplished team. And Weekend, while they had a pretty good run 2 seasons ago, last season was absolutely not theirs, where they went out, I believe, with 0 points even. This season, of course, a lot better. So let's see how it goes. Runeberg and Cliff taken out. This means we start on good old Himmelsdorf being picked by Weekend. And, of course, we're going to start on 0-0. Then Ghost Town is going to be the second map of the day. And after a whole lot of bans, we find ourselves on Sand River for a potential tiebreaker.
If it does get to go that far, Keyhand, that is the question. No Pilsen again. The teams have changed it up, Key, you know?
Yeah, I think Pilsen was extremely popular during the first 2 or 3 playdays, but now Mafia actually going with the Ghost Town approach instead. Maybe
they had Pilsen as an opportunity as well.
Yes, they had it as an opportunity, but I think they want to stay unpredictable as well. And also keep in mind, if you've played Pilsen like 2, 3, 4 times, then your tactics and your approach will have to become known. And I think you can be as creative as you want. There's only so many tactics that you'll be able to come up with.
Indeed. That is, you know, they're just shifting. You know, they've played so much Pilsen, they're like, okay, we gotta do something else. Gotta do something else.
And also, interestingly, Weekend leaving Pilsen open, right? That's another thing here. Banning it out, though, for the tiebreaker, which leaves Sand River. And Mafia, we do know they're a very capable team on Sand River as well. They like playing slow, but we also saw how Mafia can be absolutely surprised on said map. I believe Hit, last playdate, demonstrated this. So Mafia actually coming in a little bit bruised into this best of 5 here. Predictions, they are all, I wanted to say they're all favoring Mafia, but maybe Phil knows something that we don't.
I mean, maybe. I can't believe you got a point, by the way, for predicting W.
Man, literally before the match started, I was sitting outside the streaming room with Phil, and I was like, imagine W now rolls over Cashback 3-0, and no one saw it coming. And I didn't have the balls to change my prediction.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe next time we believe in you. No, actually, don't. Yeah, don't.
Okay, bro. Anyway, though, as we go into the match here, Type 5 and Bliskowitz are taken out for Weekend. That leaves us with a very Grouser-heavy lineup. Quadruple 50B, double Dravets, and a 140.
In return, double Dravets as well, triple E4. K91, a CS63 for Mafia. So it's a bit of a clash here, right? 50Bs versus E4s.
I find the radio equipment on the K91 very, very interesting. Maybe suggesting, well, it could have gone hill to like snipe from there and get unspotted earlier, but instead the K91 actually driving towards the 1 line. But I think the big surprise that Weekend is banking on is that quadruple 50B that is driving through the 8 line, and Conrad might find himself in a bit of a pickle.
Can he withstand the onslaught that's about to come his way? Hellrap, Clownzik, Paradise, Evil, they've all seen Conrad. They're going for it. Are Orchek and Rex are loading HE? That's a good question here. That's one HE shell. The second one doesn't connect, 561, but it's not low, you know, it's still like within the range of, okay, it's acceptable to try it. Then Conrad is dead in that Dravet. He's going to die, but now Orchek and Rex are re-pushing. They spent 50 beat frontal with HE. That's another one, and I think that was Orchek as well. There's a reason why he's top 2 in DPG right now. A little bit of greed goes a long way, but Barkis kind of left in isolated lands there by himself. Clownzik will definitely start clipping him out for that. Even if he has to take the shot, it's whatever for him at this point. Barkis tries to ram, does not succeed. Clownzik is so big, he doesn't have a problem to shoot at Coppola, and Weekend are finding success here because these 50Bs, they're coming back for seconds. They're coming for dessert, and there goes Rexar. Clownzik may have died, and Orchik may be banging. That's a non-connection for 300, though. That undoes all of the good stuff he's done before with HE. That's the downside of it, of course. The moment you miss one, it becomes no longer worth it. And now Cannon Profuse trading it off on 1-2 line, but the strike coming out as well, the track, and Weekend actually comes out very, very strong.
Indeed, the quadruple 50B hitting like an absolute truck in that 8 line. And of course, with those 50Bs, it's always about the first engagement. Are you actually able to remove an enemy gun from the game? And yes, indeed, they were able to do that. They caught the Dravets out, and they were able to keep all of the 50Bs, very importantly, alive to do that second clip. And so, yeah, the intuition to HE, it is fancy, but keep in mind as well, in Onslaught, the HP are just higher than in randoms. It's a flat bonus of 650, and that means you can just survive that one more hit that normally would kill you.
Well, good for Weekend. Very good. Looks really scary when they were spotted so early and the HE shells are coming in. You're like, ah. But then, you know, they get the kill, and the E4 is not known for its DPM, right? It doesn't really have that much of it. And then, you know, the E4s kind of started splitting off a little bit. You know, Barkis went one way, the other two went another way. Barkis gets picked off, the other two try and do something because of this. They then get surrounded from behind. It's like a domino system.
I mean, looking at the HP right now, it's actually not so much over, but the fact that Evil now gets a complete clip, actually only Only 2. Make that 3 out of 4 here, but now Yuzek gets absolutely swarmed. Tanks to his left, to his right, to his back. Sunshine coming in with another Dravets as well. And the power of the autoloader once again reigns supreme for Weekend.
Yeah, there is no chance there that they would win that game. Even if the HP was good, there's just too many autoloaders to get through. It's impossible, to be honest, to snag a win there. For Mafia, good stuff there from Weekend. Very, very solid. Beautiful. Well played to them. They are going to set it off with a 1-0. And, you know, best of 5 is very momentum-based. So if they could keep that up, Gihan, that'd be something.
Indeed, and we just saw in the previous match what can happen to a team if they have maybe a bad start into it. But now, Mafia, you could say bad start. You could also say that all-in kind of cheeky strategy from Weekend absolutely working out. The 50Bs this season, not the worst tank to pick.
No, I mean the 50B is very solid this season. It's a good tank. It performs well. It does a lot of good stuff. So in that regard, it's a good pick. And you know, Himmels is indeed one of those maps. You can play types, you can play 50Bs, 57s, E4s. It's hard to ban everything.
Yeah, no, you only have a 1 ban. You probably would like more at some point in time, but yeah, Weekend exploiting the fact that 50Bs were on the table, and to be honest, the decision making to send them through the 8 line. I mean, it's always a gamble. Imagine there are 3 50Bs and double E4 waiting for you in those 50Bs, then it's absolutely gonna fall apart, right? But like this, they get the first pickup, and then they transition in towards second clips. Good focus fire as well. The CS by Mafia, realistically from the hill, yeah, Kono able to do 4,800, but it is just 1 gun at the end of the day. So yeah, good for Weekend. Now they need to back it up.
And if you look at this lineup from Mafia, it doesn't really have true DPM to counter those 50Bs, right? It doesn't really have burst. It has just that K91 as a DPM, and then, you know, Kono does a lot from the hill, but even that, the CS is not really a carry tank, right?
No. It does have a lot of things going for it, but yeah, here definitely the problem was that you don't have the DPM required to make up for losing tanks on the lower side, left, right, and center. Right? The CS just has 1 gun. Yet, yes, it has theoretically the strike as well, but it doesn't add so much DPM. It's more of a tactical tool. So I think the opening just favored Weekend so heavily that they were then easily able to bring it over the finish line for themselves in this first match here.
Yeah, and you know, if they do it again, 2-0 would be great for Weekend. The points they get here are fantastic. Like I said, I think this is a very momentum-based kind of style in best of 5, so they could run with it. Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Let's see if they've come up with something interesting for the second round as well, because let's be real. I mean, Weekend, this wasn't like a super crazy strat where everything is like super thought out. This was, I would say, a one-time thing that you can do once, and then enemy teams will be aware that you could do it, but let's see. Bliskovica and E4 respectively being banned, so no HE pens from Ojek this time, at least. And Weekend definitely switching it up. Singular BZ, double Dravets, triple T57, 2 of them with Grousers as well, whereas Evil is running the vents and the Type 5.
Mafia in return, changing it up as well. Triple 430U, K91, CS, double Dravets. I mean, 430U is now in the mix. They're adding that DPM tank. They're going to be facing off against 57s, though. It's all about who gets the better engagement here.
And we saw in match number 1 what happens in between T57s and 430Us. Round 1, W absolutely dominating those 430Us because they got them essentially in the open. But here now Mafia, I think, with a very aggressive start going into the 3-line with everyone but the CS63 that they're sending to the hill.
They'll have that crossfire though. Set up nonetheless. Hellrap will get a lot of info. Doesn't spot the 430Us though, and again, Weekend will need to do something at some point because that CS from the hill is going to be very annoying.
Yeah, the longer the game goes, the more valuable Kono actually becomes because he will have time to actually do something with that singular gun of his. For now, he's only taking the information tower, but info is a lot already. the T-57 trap in the 8 line gets spotted, and now they're going to start moving as Barkis takes a swing at Clownzik but misses the cupola. The Type 5 shoots back, doesn't penetrate though, and for Hellrap, it's dire times actually. He needs to move away as quickly as he can because that is a lot of angry 430Us that are starting to come towards him.
Hellrap is now in trouble. I think he might die. They get the track shot as well. He already uses repair kits, and now the 57s are looking for something in return. Hellrap will get one more shot. Good shot there from Rexar. Gets the track out as well, which means that Hellrap may not get... No, he does get one more at least. Bark is joining in, but now Yuzek is the one surrounded. Yeah, the CS is putting in shot after shot after shot, yet again from the hill. Clownzik, however, in no man's land as well. The strike there, Rexar, good dodge. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but he does end up dodging that altogether. And they're chewing down this Type 5 relatively easily, and that means the 57's got to keep going. Rexar takes one more, but him and Barkis are about to pick up Clownzik. He's dead. Now, can they get Conrad out of this game, though, without losing too much? No, they cannot. They don't have the burst for it. The strike is coming in as well. That's the strike from the CS. 500 damage dealt, and this time around, there's not enough weekend tanks that are going to live for long enough to do the damage. Kono, this time around, is bringing victory to his team.
Yeah, and you could see here, even at the end, Kono was very willing to trade his HP against the T-57 just because that meant that the T-57 that's currently in the middle of the field would not be able to provide any kind of damage that Weekend realistically needed at the end here on the lower side. And so it is going to be a swarm of angry Mafia 430Us that bring victory to their team here. They're going to equalize the scoreline, and the little bit of a hype that we had for Weekend dead in its tracks, like Trash Panda is soon going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Mafia switch it up, and the switch up was a good one. They make it work. They do everything they're supposed to do. Good job by Mafia. Love to see it. They changed the style almost completely from the previous round, and it was beneficial.
Yeah, also the E4 ban. I think E4 on maps like Ruinberg, Himmelsdorf, etc., it's just so potent that by banning this one on that map, you're removing a lot of possibilities for tactics from the enemy team. So yeah, Mafia switching it up completely, and they find success with that, and I mean, good for them.
Good for them indeed. So they do well across the board. I mean, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. I really like the change up, you know, to the 430Us now. It brings them the tanks that have DPMs, so even when the 57s find an engagement, they're able to retaliate because of that tank choice, right? They don't have to wait for their reloads like the E4s. They're just blasting, basically.
All right. So we find ourselves at a 1-1 scoreline after Himmelsdorf, which I believe was Weekend's pick, and this in turn means that now it's Mafia's time to shine on their map pick, which, if I recall correctly, it's Ghost Town?
Yeah, that's
there we go.
I mean, they had the option for Pilsen, but they went for Ghost Town instead. And honestly, yeah, Ghost Town is not a bad map for them either, you know, like it's pretty hard now to play very aggressive on Ghost Town because of the level 1 strike you get, which if you put 3 tanks on the cap, honestly, it will reset 1, which buys you time, right? And time is usually the one deciding factor when a team decides to quick cap.
I mean, the thing is, if you are just able to get those maybe 3-4 additional seconds of delay, that's usually enough to basically get a big strike as well, which then could potentially reset more than 1. So yeah, I think the cap plays, this is why they've fallen out of fashion a little bit on Ghost Town. We just have to wait and see if maybe one of the teams has something planned, because of course you could ban the CS, but I think on Ghost Town, maybe Type 5 or...
Doesn't matter if you ban the CS. There's the Leopard,
yeah, you could have
CS.
CS.
There's the Concept 5 even, if you want to go that far. It's...
Or Leopard 1 maybe, not Concept, I think.
I mean, honestly, Concept not that bad, Keyhand. But there's, what I'm trying to say is that there's choices, right? Even if you do ban the CS, there's just another strike tank behind it.
Yep. So... yeah, I think this is why the bans are more likely to go into the direction of, let's say, for example, Type 5 or... what other bans have we seen on Ghost Town? I mean, EBR could be a choice just to maybe give your light tank player a little bit more of survivability on the field.
EBR is like an S tier choice, if you think about it that way. EBR would be first, and then you have everything else, you know, like E4s, types, etc. But EBR is kind of like the number 1, especially when you're playing against somebody like Kono.
Absolutely. He's time and time again demonstrated that he's very, very proficient. But, of course, the EBR, as nimble and fast and quick as it is, it can also get sent to the garage very quickly. But yeah, Mafia, they do ban out the EBR themselves, while Weekend opt to ban the K91, which is kind of curious. Instead of the CS, for example. That leaves all the heavy tank and tank destroyer options on the table.
Indeed. So K91 banned at EBR, not really surprising in that regard. Leaves IHM for Mafia, but a T100 pick by Weekend nonetheless. But also look at the secondary tank. They have another IHM with binoculars.
The purple binoculars, introduced, I believe, last season, seeing a lot of use. But yeah, unfortunate with that one. Mafia double Dravet CS Hurricane, so double CS, I guess. Leopard 1, as I talked about it, T124 and RHM. Both of the teams almost without TDs. I mean, Weekend entirely. Only a singular E4 across the board.
Question is, does Mafia figure out this double light? I mean, Sunshine, it's really like with Kono only being the only light, he cannot really random play, you know?
No, and I think he's respecting that fact. That's why he's also at the outside on the zero line, where he does actually have hard cover. And normally, if he doesn't catch a super unlucky timing, he can also leave from there. Yeah, Yuzek now driving a little bit more aggressive on the one line, but of course is respecting the fact that, well, not everyone has been spotted yet. Currently, both teams are playing without a lot of info, and Conrad, trying to do spotting checks here, does get spotted. So he's going to relay the info. Hey, there is at least one tank by Weekend out there on the field. The blind shot's not too far off, but Sunshine
I think he's
now
more blinding towards the ship than he is towards Sunshine, you know, like for, ooh, never mind. Although that could be, the Tracer really makes it look more dangerous than it is sometimes, you know, because like those Tracers, they're going for the bushes. That one is going for the ship. They're not really aimed at Sunshine, you know?
No, and I think now that he's not getting spotted anymore, he of course doesn't know if he's perma-spotted or not, but at least the light bulb not going off currently. And of course Conrad would know if he hit something just because of his ability, so at the moment he knows that he hasn't hit.
One was close again though. That one was actually aimed at the bush line as well, so they're aware a little bit, but here comes the outside play by Weekend. Double bat and an IHM pushing on towards Yuzek. Ooh, he's not high enough. He's not high enough. They're about to surprise Yuzek. Hellwrap and Evilock behind Yuzek, and Yuzek is like, what the hell? What is happening? He does have support from Profuse and Vexor, and the support of a strike as well, so Hellwrap and Evilock will have to go safe. They're taking a lot of damage for this. They gotta make sure Yuzek dies. They have the output for it. Evilock needs only one more. How much did they take in return? 2 bats towards 1k, and a little bit of damage on the RHM. Does it hurt? Yes. Was it a good trade? I think yes.
I think so as well. Good aim on the artillery strike by one of the baby mediums. Ooh, blind artillery strike coming out as well, and it's going to hit on 2 tanks, crucially on the RHM as well. And all of a sudden, Darky, I'm not so sure anymore if this trade was worthwhile.
No, the exit damage is pretty impactful, but the full rotation happening, I think Weekend here is one step ahead right now. Sure, the trade didn't end up being that great, ultimately, but they're up a gun, and they're immediately rotating back towards 9-0 line. It's very common, indeed, for Mafia to repush 1-2 line at some point. I think they're banking on this as well.
I mean, Weekend leaving a singular CS that realistically, if he's in speedy mode, he could make a great old escape from that 1-2 line. And yeah, Mafia are setting up for that push, as you said, double CS63 and a Leopard 1 on the one line now. They're also bringing the RHM to bear here as Sunshine slowly but surely starts going onto the field again on the 890. But the Dravets of Conrad, I think preemptively and well timed, does make a getaway.
Paradise running from 1-2, takes a shot from Orchek on the runaway. Maybe he's sticking around to spot wasn't even the right. Oof, takes another one. This one time from Conrad. That's a lot of damage on the CS63.
Oh, Kano is now there to support with the T57. And a little bit of firepower is realistically what Paradise needs. What Kano doesn't need right now is getting spotted in the open as a T-57. So he is going to abandon the thought he had before. And wow, with this, he actually dodges the plane. That's crazy.
Well, he will never know, Kihan, unless he watches the VOD. He'll never know what he dodged there. And now he's, again, getting spotted out, though, going wide, and that's a 57 spotted. Not sure why he's opting. Like, I don't know why he was so wide to begin with, you know? Maybe he wanted to get some shots, but Paradise is dying. That's another strike coming out. He's dead. That's Profuse. And Mafia equalize the scoreboard in terms of the kills. Gono getting spotted out, though, taking some damage as well. But so far, Mafia done a really good job of getting back into this game.
Yeah, they get a pretty, I would say, cheap pickup on the CS63. And now Clownzik and Conrad trading, well, not really, because it's only Clownzik taking damage against the E4. The E4, of course, kind of a counter to the T-57. We'll have to wait and see what exactly both of those teams are up to now, but I think Mafia, with the grand rotation through the south once again, they're probably hoping to catch one of those light tanks by weekend, which, of course, they cannot confirm as of now. I don't think they've seen the T100, but they're probably suspecting it. A mini-strike trying to delay the information tower from Trash Panda. Does he opt to go back for it? I don't even think so right now.
No, Mafia's doing a really good job at controlling the map. The mini-strike gets used to deny Trash Panda. He does not want to stick around. He knows there could be a lot of danger if he decides to stay. It gives time for Mafia to go across the K-line, which they did as well. So at least Trash Panda respects it. But now a double light and double bad shot on low HP. How do you get, if you're weekend, something happening for you? A foothold.
Yeah, I think the problem for Weekend right now is that realistically the Playmaker tanks have been expended in the first rush that they did. The bad shots are low. The RHM has taken a bit of chip damage. The Type 5 can't really be the first to engage just because it's so slow. And the T-57 also realistically just wants to exploit an engagement. It doesn't want to start it itself. So Weekend running a little bit out of steam early here with the options that they have.
They're pushing back Pummel too, but like you still have the problem, right? The bats are low, and that's, I feel like, a danger here. You know, the bat shot could just explode.
Well, Sunshine preemptively spotting with that T100. He does take quite a bit of map control for his team here, as Conrad is looking to take that artillery strike as well. And once again, Mafia doing a great job of delaying neutral POIs for Weekend as the plane gets put to just find out what exactly is happening here. Kano once again taking 425, and well, Weekend have double strike available, but seemingly no targets.
Rexar tries to blind it out, but now he gets a spot on Kano from Orchek, who gives one with the E4. The CS coming in as well, and it's starting to fall apart a little bit here for Weekend. I mean, this T-57 is probably going to end up dying against the CS63. He does go D-spotted for a while, but Mafia is doing a very good job at just sitting back and withering away the storm of Weekend, and Weekend is running out of HP altogether to do something with. Their two lights don't even have a plane left anymore, so that's pretty bad. Sunshine gets spotted out even in the T100 pushing up. He has to go trade against the CS63. They gotta make a kill somehow and then survive, but this is tough. They will be able to get the kill, but at what cost? Because Sunshine is -1.1, doesn't hit the shot. Panda doesn't hit the shot either. Rexar just surviving, taking on two lightings at the same time. He does end up whiffing, and Trash Panda takes one from the back, so they will find a kill now against Rexar in the CS63, but this one was very, very expensive.
And now in come the faster tanks of Mafia that are trying to exploit what happened here on that 1 and 2 line. The RHM, the first one into the fray, but Kono cannot really push that much right now as the T100 gets picked up. But realistically, everyone is a 2-shot or less on that 1-2 line for Weekend. They're just really running out of HP at this point, and out of tanks as well, as the T-57 and the Type go down, followed by the RHM. It's all falling apart for Weekend. A good start, but then the damage that they took, it was too much.
Yeah, and Mafia did a really good job, you know, like they lost one tank, which honestly, Yusek didn't spot that well. for what it was. But even with that, they did a lot of damage to the tanks that did make the push. More so than I expected even. Most of it came coming on the part where they were running away. And as a result, you know, Mafia ends up picking up that round. They play a very controlled and mature game, making it very hard for Weekend.
And as the damage numbers come in here, we see that it's just not enough across the board. The Batchats were meant to be the damage dealers, but they end up just doing that first clip. And then I think with the Batchat, if you fall below, say 1000 HP, which both of them did, then your effectiveness as like this mobile kind of assassin tank, then it's really not that effective anymore, because your intra clip takes so long that while you're trying to break down the enemy, you might die yourself, and then it's not effective.
Well, Mafia up 2-1 against Weekend. Yeah, Weekend wasn't able to continue the momentum train, and this Ghost Town I think fits Mafia ideally. You know, it's a really long, drawn-out battle. I think they're very happy when one of those battles happens as well.
Yeah, I think because individually, the chance for any of the Mafia players to make big mistakes is like kind of low. You could argue that Profuse made a mistake by not spotting so early, but then again, I think the pathing was designed exactly in a way to surprise him there. And even then, the trade, I think, kind of ended up going in Mafia's favor just because they were able to deal so much damage for a single tank. I think at that point, they were up like 4,000 or 5,000 HP. Then they just need to focus on trading favorably. And also, Weekend has the problem that, yeah, they're up a gun, but realistically, how much worth is that? Because one of their tanks is a T100 that is like not even half a gun. It's like maybe 0.3.
Let's see if Weekend decides to go for something more aggressive now. I really think that if you let Mafia play this long style, you know, the long game, they will come out ahead.
Well, they have this one more chance to try and get into the points in this match, as Mafia is on match point here, once again banning out the EBR, and Weekend doing absolutely the same thing, leaving a lot of freedom once again in the lineups here on Ghost Town.
So far, not too many surprises though. I mean, Mafia, triple type 5, okay, that's pretty slow. We can still opting for the T100 though. T100 versus RHM. We can again looking for the longer game, I guess. But Mafia is not really able to push with that either.
No, I think Mafia hopes to get pushed upon with those Type 5s. And then, of course, they have the tanks to kind of profit with, say, the 50B, the K91, etc. They're driving back here at the start to avoid the plane, and it works. Only 2 tanks spotted by the plane of Sunshine. That obviously needs to wait to have another plane available now, whereas Kono opted to not plane in his own T100. This means he can be of a surprise for Weekend.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, since it's going to be another long game, how surprised will they really be?
Probably not that much. I think both teams are speculating currently how many light tanks are actually on the opposing side. They, of course, don't know that the answer is 1 for each. Sunshine now getting the spot out onto Rexa and Orzhek, and he drives back immediately, which is very smart because we saw in the OCS match last Sunday that, you know, if you actually spot someone on the other side, then they will relay that information that they're spotted, and then an unfortunate plane for yourself might catch you with your pants down in those bush lines.
Indeed. So that's why the light goes back. It's a bit too obvious, you know, that when you get spotted, the light could be far forward, so they immediately back away with the light. It's very standard practice, to be honest. And it's also good practice to keep doing so, even if you're not always going to get plane, just to avoid a situation in which you would. The cap is on. Sunshine does have a plane. There's 3 mini strikes for Weekend, and let's keep in mind as well, of course, that it's Type 5s on the cap. You know, they're very hard that They're very hard tanks to dodge strikes with.
On the other side, they are generating cap points, so they are going to be generating at some point heals as well to counteract those strikes a little bit. The only thing that it would do would be driving up the number of damage that Weekend have dealt, realistically, which could give them the advantage in a tiebreaker condition. But if you trade like that, Paradise, that advantage ain't gonna last.
It will not, indeed. Profuse getting spotted out. In A1, plane coming out on towards the cap. They have still 3 strikes and a big strike. There comes the first mini strike. There comes the big strike. And they will be able to reset with it. But, well, you may be laughing and be like, look at Mafia. Omega Lul. Losers sitting on the cap, getting strike. There's not that much left in the arsenal for Weekend, though, in terms of strike.
Ooh. A good reset coming in from Clownzik on towards Uzek. Both of them do have the level 2 heal ability now, so at this point, speculatively, you could even use one of those or even both. So you have it like up again after the next shot of damage that you do. But yeah, he had 20 seconds now, and Weekend, they do have a level 2 strike on the Leopard, and they have a level 1 on the CS, but no big strikes. And with the small ones only, you cannot really super much guarantee to be hitting something. That's why we see Trash Panda trying to grab the Eastern big strike now, but that one, of course, is going to take a little bit longer, but good resets once again coming in for Mafia. So far, the cap doesn't really work out, but here comes the punishment. Here comes the pain onto Clownzik, who takes 2 more by the types, both of them penetrating Clownzik to less than half.
And this is the pressure I was talking about, right? Because of the fact that the strike tanks, they're running out of strikes, right? Paradise doesn't have one, Hellrap doesn't have one, Kana doesn't have one. It's really only Trash Panda with the singular big strike right now that is going to be able to reset, and he will only be able to get 1 out of 2. Sure, Paradise is taking a strike on 1-2 line in return, but they're just not generating quite enough. Ooh, Rexar with a pretty disastrous peak though in his type 5. Very disastrous even.
Oh, he does even end up getting punished more by Trash Panda, who could be going for the throat here, who could be going for the kill against Rexas. 15 seconds remaining, but once again, Weekend have a strike again on that CS63 that, with the damage generated into the cap, should also be getting another baby strike from it just as Hellrap reaches level 2. So I think for now, Weekend are A-okay with the strikes that they have. A level 3 ability on Paradise now, level 2 on Hellrap. As more damage keeps piling up onto the team of Mafia, it's just nibbling at the heels. 3 tanks committed on the cap, so a little bit more urgent the situation now for Weekend, as a strike gets put onto Barkis, who gets the sound clue but isn't able to dodge. Same for Uzek. Conrad getting reset with a shot here. I think the angles seem to not be working for Mafia, but Clownzik with the one shot needs to be careful.
Uzek did end up dodging the strike there for a second, but now Conrad is going to abandon this cap attempt. Mafia not really getting much done. Rexar, his earlier trades come to hunt him down at the very end. You know, made some bad trades there, they cost them, and then he ends up dying, and now Mafia has to scramble to try and make something happen here.
Well, Conrad is now trying to cut off the manual resets by Evil a little bit, but Evil doesn't care about it, really. Just hits the cupola with a snapshot. Orzek now in an engagement against the Leopard 1, but he just doesn't have the clip potential. And now the Leopard, with its pretty good pen HE, is of course able to 2-shot him. So bad news for Orzek, and even worse news for Mafia, who are going to be conceding the second round to Weekend, leading us to only the 2nd ever tiebreaker in the AMD OLS Season 6.
Well, that's funny. It's gonna happen here. Good round for Weekend. I thought Mafia put enough pressure with the tanks on the cap, but you know, Weekend was able to get some crucial shots, some crucial mini strikes, and an unforced error there from Rexar, making his tank very low HP, able to be picked up, was able to cover the sides, and then ends up dying.
Yep. Those small, or in Rexar's case this round, not so small mistakes are the ones that tend to cost rounds and tend to cost points at this point as well. Because both teams are going to go to tiebreaker. This means both of them have a point secured already. They're just now fighting for the second one.
Indeed, this is the case. So, after seeing all of this, Kian, who do you think is going to win it out?
I think still Mafia, regardless. Just because they're the more accomplished, the more the more experienced team. But realistically, it could be any between both of those two teams. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be in the tiebreaker. It's just that I think the possibilities lie more with Mafia than with Weekend, especially considering that I think the tiebreaker map is Sand River, which is not the worst map for Mafia.
No, it should not be, because you can indeed slow down the game a lot again, you know?
Yeah, we saw last playday how Hit actually demolished Mafia on Sand River, so there are ways to beat them, but I think Hit sometimes has that very unique playstyle where they just go uber aggressive and just force the mistakes from the opposing team that not a lot of other teams can replicate.
Mafia end up picking West. So, slightly favorite side, I would say, Kian.
Yeah, I think it would have been a surprise if they had picked anything but West. It's also always an interesting thing when teams pick a tiebreaker map that is supposedly a bit sided. Because apparently then both of them would be okay with playing the less favored side as well, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, for sure. So, do you think Weekend or Mafia is taking it?
I'm gonna stick my Mafia prediction. What about you?
I mean, I had Mafia 3-0, so...
Well, I think I had 3-1. So for me, it's also Jover.
Did anybody predict tiebreaker?
Not from the four of us, at least. I don't have the sheet open right now. Maybe you can check.
Yeah, if you give me a second, I will. I need like...
But yeah, Phil was kind of unhappy with that he was put with Weekend, but
0 for me and Banter, and 3-1 for everybody else.
Yeah. Okay. So, well,
out of everybody, right? Out of all the predictions I see on the sheet, only Chess Genie predicted 3-2 for Mafia.
Ooh.
Everybody else went with a 3-0 or a 3-1.
Possibility for Chess to catch up then. I think he hasn't been doing like super well, but he's also not beaten yet. So
he has more points than you do, Kian.
My points don't count, all right?
Then again, most people have more points than you do.
I can reiterate, my points don't count.
I would hope so, because you drag down the class average.
Well, out of all of us here on the stream, I'm the only one that generated points from, from the first match. So there's that. I'll take the W where I can.
That's true. Ian also predicted for W.
All right. You didn't have to tell me that. Anyway, 430U banned out for Weekend, and the Dravets for Mafia, leaving Weekend to go with... are you sure they're already finished? I mean, it's double MVY, E50M, K91, STRV, WZTD, out of all things, and an RHM.
Mafia in return, Profuse with its trusty binos, double K91, double E50M, a CS and an IS7.
Alright, the WZTD getting switched away from for a second E50M for Weekend. I was very interested where that WZTD was gonna go. I mean, we've seen it being played, for example, on Ensk, but I think realistically here on Sand River, it has a lot of problems, narrow gun arc, low shell velocity, etc., that make it pretty annoying to play.
Yeah. From time to time, this come into effect. Rexar will be going for the mid-strike. Gap getting sighted by K91s. Rexar getting denied on the strike a little bit. Conrad marching down the middle. And Weekend setting it off very slow, right? Mivy is going through 0 line, then K line. It's a very long approach from them. Conrad just blocking off. Trading a Trash Panda. That's fine. No strike available either yet for Weekend. So they are going to have to rely on that mini-strike to do the work, because normally speaking, this K91 should get denied on that strike.
I mean, you would think so. Rexar currently taking the middle strike on the crown, and finally he does succeed after over a minute of trying to take it, as Weekend are starting to destroy a few of the houses in the cap that do provide temporary cover. 16 seconds remaining, though, on the cap, so at some point, sooner rather than later, Weekend will have to find a means of resetting.
No strikes.
It's not going to be the K91, though, without the strike, yeah.
No strike. Sunshine will hit the plane on Barkas. Is there a reset coming out? 2 seconds left. There is a reset on Barkas, I think, from the K-line. That was a close call there. Crush Panda forced to drive close in that E50M, and that is going to take down a lot of these buildings. Should be a lot of mini strikes coming out of Crush Panda's position. Down towards 700 immediately. Taking a shot from Kono as well on the up position. And there's only 12 seconds left. Crush Panda out in the open. Barkas picks him up without even getting spotted. 9 seconds left now. It doesn't look like Weekend's about to get anything, as there's no strikes available. There's no spot available. Sunshine doesn't even have a plane. Clown's going to have to do it the manual way. Only now does Sunshine get a play, but a little too late, as it's Mafia to take it away. 3-2-2. A little bit of an anticlimactic moment there, but a good execute from Mafia.
Exactly. Mafia recognizing the reset opportunities that Weekend had here, and they were shutting them down one by one by one. So Mafia securing themselves the second point, securing the overall match win as well. Weekend not going down without a fight, though. I think for them, getting 1 point is already, like, it's not great that you then lose the tiebreaker, but it's not terrible either if you walk away with at least... Yeah, exactly. It's something.
I would rather have 1 point than no points, you know?
Absolutely.
At least you'd hope so.
And Profuse with the purple binoculars not getting any assistance. Unlucky.
Part of it is spotting for himself, though. You know, like spotting the K91 crossing, for example, you know?
Yeah.
So just because he didn't get any assists doesn't mean it didn't have any value.
Yeah, I think Mafia just did very well with the focusing the strikes on the E50M while keeping the K91 away from the strike in the north. I think those were the two factors that really led to them being able to cap so easily. At least that's what it looked like. And that means that... Well, today at least, we are roughly on schedule, because after 2 matches, one of which was an absolute stomp, and this one, rather close affair, we are gonna be back soon with the third match. And here, it's kind of, you know, it's like, you know, a mud fight. That's, I think, what it's gonna be between Lotus and CTR. Both of them not really with a lot of success. Interestingly, between both of them, only a single point, and CTR were able to take that point from the team that is actually in first place on the board. Funny how that sometimes works. But yeah, we're going to be back with Lotus against CTR just after some replays take it away.
just continuing through. I told he's making it. That's going to be a lot of DPM. This will be a hard one for Mafia. It's not looking good. He's going to disappear. Pretty bad for Cashback. He's dead. They are doing damage, but they're not stopping this train of W tank pushing forward. He's a one-shot Itox with one more kill. They can't really do anything. Hitterman seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W. W just continuing through. I don't think he's making it. That's going to be a lot of DPM. This will be a hard one for Mafia. It's not looking good. He's going to disappear. Pretty bad for Cashback. He's dead. They are doing damage, but they're not stopping this train of W tank pushing forward. He's a one-shot Itox with one more kill. They can't really do anything. Hitterman seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series Season 6. We've replaced out Keyhand for a way better predictor. Hi Phil.
Well, I mean, today not so great, but I guess great things are still to come. Lotus versus CTR. I actually went for Lotus. I know the community was voting for CTR, but you know, I was wearing blue the last time, and I was hoping to save the Ice Bears, but it was not successful, so I thought this time maybe I can try to save them by predicting in their favor.
That's when he starts getting, you know, risky. Yeah, putting the money on Lotus. But yeah, CTR, as good as they were last season, right? As disappointing they have been so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, they lost some of their core players, and I think they had a bunch of situations where the tactical part looked pretty alright, and then it was just like individual players doing some things that were maybe a bit unnecessary. You remember we had the very first game with Hit and Run versus CTR on Westfield, where Hit and Run basically lost the K91 for free, and then just kept through, even though there were strikes available. It was just not communicated well. So yeah, I mean, both of those teams are pretty much at the bottom of the standings. We had a somewhat similar scenario last season, but Vulgus is out and Weekend is playing much better, so those teams are kind of fighting for 7th instead of 5th now. And community says 75% for CTR. Lotus has looked a tiny bit worse, I guess, but I'm not sure if I would go that much in favor of CTR. They also had some quite rough matches.
Yeah, they had a lot of rough matches. This is the one though where you would say that both of them have opportunities. Bilson makes its return. Lotus is going to be the one picking that, and then Himmel's being picked by CTR. This really could be anybody's game. I'm really not too sure who I believe would get ahead in this one.
No, I mean, I was checking the schedule, and Lotus, after this CTR match, has the amazing selection of 2 more Polish teams to play against, Hit and Mafia. So maybe not the most forward-looking situation there for them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting match. Like, I was thinking about it a lot. I'm like, I believe anybody could win, but I believe it could be 3-0 for either team almost. Tiebreaker. I really wasn't sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like CTR had quite an upwards trend during the previous seasons. You remember they did fairly well in some of like the inter-season competitions, like the Winter Invitational and the Onslaught Legends Cup as well, where they made it into the top 8. Even took like 2 rounds of hit and run there in a best of 7. And Lotus was always like, you know, more towards the bottom of the standings, but like not at the very bottom. So I just went basically with the assumption that, wait, everyone is cheating. They've just predicted for Mafia instead of Lotus. I mean, if that would have been an option, I would have predicted for Mafia as well.
No? I think it's very smart.
But yeah, either way, we obviously have CTR playing, and Mafia already played their match quite successfully. And I mean, maybe not that successfully considering Weekend stole the point. But yeah, talking about points, we mentioned earlier CTR took 1 from Hit and Run. Lotus, who is not yet able to secure any points. If they want to get out of those bottom 2 positions, they have to either pass by Cashback, who won twice and lost 3 times, I think, or Sicarios, who will later still play against Hit and Run, but also already sitting on 6 points and have the direct comparison.
This is an important match, right, for both of these teams, because if you win this one, you're within 1 match reach of Sicarios, which is the current team in shared 6th position with Cashback, both on 6 points. So it's very, very important to win this. If you win this, you have an opportunity to get back in this. You lose this, and we're basically counting you out, to be honest.
Yeah, but as I said, like both of them already lost to Sicarios, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they would need to like get some points from somewhere else. I guess it's a bit easier for CTR because they don't really care that much about the direct comparison because they stole the extra point. So if they get 2 victories, they have 7 points, and if they are in the scenario that Sicarios loses their remaining matches, then maybe they can like sneak through with 7 over 6 points. That would be kind of like the cutoff. But yeah, Lotus is the task at hand, and I'm happy to share we are about to load into the game. Pilsen, I heard is one of your favorite maps to see because we see it so rarely. You were missing it earlier today.
Yeah, I was just surprised, you know, went from playing Pilsen every game to only having it in 1 game, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we still haven't seen any Tundra. Like, everyone is just banning it. Maybe they want to send me a message to remove it. And obviously we can consider that for future competitions. With that being said, the ban phase is very heavy vehicles with types, even like an E100. Apparently Tuka has his birthday, and I was asked to congratulate him. So if that's the case, happy birthday, Tuka. E4s are being banned. Quite a good choice if you want to play Type 5s. Obviously, American TD has great penetration for the types and trades better with higher alpha. Say Lotus a bit more mobile, obviously for 30Us and 50B. Any preference from your side? We have a light tank on Lotus side as well.
Almost like Lotus's lineup more because it has the info, but it also has the 430Us. While CTR, it has this, you know, full lineup of brawl, but not entirely either because they don't really have tanks that brawl super well, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Dravex are great, but more like for holding, I would say, because like you want to have like a hold-on position, or you want to be kind of like part of the pack. But like as you said, there are no T57s, just one for 30U, and also they're not going to brawl. They're just going to the field, and most of the tanks got spotted. So Lotus is doing an alright job, and with some shots flying in already, even the type connecting, HPs are already looking quite alright. Double tank now being committed by Lotus, and double Dravik as well coming in. Lotus made the decision to not go into the strike, and I guess that is a good thing for them, because it's 4 tanks right now waiting there for CTR.
In return, though, Sokol has taken the strike now, with Lotus reinforcing this position even more. That will force CTR to back off, and they don't have anybody on the balcony to overlook.
But they have the CS strike, so
that's only a temporary delay, though.
Stop it.
It's not like a complete countermeasure. The biggest problem is there's 4 tanks stuck in like 1 square.
No, I mean the HPs are pretty much even again, just as I was saying. Big straights flying in there, the types hitting each other for roughly 700 each. Wudok was so far a bit out of game, and I think Maruta will be able to just turn around. I'm more afraid for Tarks actually, because Wudok might get a good shot into the light tank, and that would hurt.
Well, Marusha is in trouble as well, because Wudok can indeed just trade it out, and David is forced back in his type. Floki is coming in with his own type 5 respectively, and they'll definitely do a number here against that singular type of Marusha. Jordan peeking on 0 line, doesn't get too much out either. CTR now actually in a really good position back again because of the damage against this type 5. This is just a fight that they cannot win from the side of Lotus, so they gotta win somewhere else, but in return on the 0 line, so they're trying to get something on towards Sokol. They're going to be careful with the way they approach this, though. Need to do it clean, and there comes the big strike. That should be enough, but Frontline is dead. Herman's now getting flanked as well by Jordan, who has come off of reload. He will chase down Evo instead, though, in that Dravet. He's unable to dodge that one. First type 5 down, and I will say here, CTR, I'm not sure they really needed to do this. They were going to win that fight either way. Lose Evo. Herman with the kill, known for his superior DPM. Wudok will be able to finish off David just now, but then they still need to get these types into the game somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is still pretty good for CTR. Jordan coming off reload, but good awareness by Cody, making it on the other side of the ridge line, and Tuka has a difficult time there against Cody, because both those tanks hull down are not the greatest against each other. Good decision making anyway to focus Herman first, the BZ. They're a bit out of position, and a bounce as well from Herman. So maybe Tuka can pick up the kill, which he immediately does. And taking a look at the HPs, you mentioned it, the types are still quite out of game, and they're carrying the heavy chunk of HP for the team of CTR.
Yeah, the bounce there from Herman could be more impactful than we think, to be honest, because minus 650 on Tuka would drop him towards the range where he's too shotable, and then a strike could come in as well. Kodicek's about to get surprised by Tuka. Even Tuka misses that one. Would have been a huge shot to hit, to be honest.
No, and waste the ability. I think he tried to get kind of like one extra reload in before Cody goes away. Tarks is spotted as well at this point. There is the consideration of basically striking the light tank and then respotting it again, so it's one shot.
Double strike
but
Tuka.
for I think so as well. But I think for safety measures, they should and leave the light be for the time being, because the type can also one-shot it with an HG or even with a normal AP shell, because you have 700 alpha. Tuka misses again, and I think that kind of starts closing in the battle. First strike is being deployed. Second strike, he drives out just in time. Maybe a bit uncoordinated. Miss from Wudok there. Jordan might be able to put in a 1. Wouldn't be too critical. Wudok is still quite healthy. But the HPs have swung in favor of CTR, even a bit more than it was at the beginning. Good shot by Tuka now. Just as I was saying, the 50B is dishing out the damage. It took some damage as well, but I mean, that is great shooting, especially in the light. Jordan needs to take at least one more kill.
Darks is coming in from 0 line. He doesn't want to commit, though. He's running away now. I think CTR is just making this game extremely difficult on themselves. The second strike being put so blind is a waste, to be honest. Just make sure you spot him and then kill him. Kodicek then has to peek. The type is peeking as well. He dies. Like, so much unnecessary stuff. And honestly, there is a chance here for Tarsic. There really is.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I believe there is.
I mean, Woodok will just take the info tower
Sure.
now, and then it's 20 seconds on one strike, and
Sure, but if Tarks goes straight towards 1-2 line and takes the strike there, he has an opportunity to kill like the CS and for 3 who are a one-shot. I would not say that this is over, honestly.
I mean, Woodok, which obviously gives them like the short-term knowledge of where the light tank went, but realistically, like he could only go into the corner, right?
He only had one real way out, which was down 0 line, which is exactly where he went. He might get one here on Woodok when he's crossing instead of the factory towards the strike.
I think Woodok wants him to shoot. Like he drove sideways, aiming towards him, trying to kind of like take the gamble shot. And I think what they're doing is perfectly fine, like letting the type do the dirty work right now. Obviously, Tarks knows that the type is the one in the cat right now. He has to make sure he gets either he misses the shot, also provides information by driving through the Tarks, manages to drive out, gets spotted the first 30U, tags him, has the reload advantage as well, and that's the end for Tarks.
Should be the end. Gotta check to pick it up. Tarks needed to make the kill there, but even then Froley was about to appear behind him. CTR wins this game, but it was a close one. Again, I don't think that they really needed to do a lot of stuff that they did.
No, I mean, it was not clean at all.
No, that for sure. Like, this whole field play, I think, when you're winning the type fight, it is like, when you win that fight, or starting to win that fight, it's Lotus that will make the move, more likely than not. So the fact that they make it before against the flow of the game, you know? Because the types are going to die, so Lotus has to do something.
Yeah, taking a look at the team score, Tuka there definitely high up on top, but that's not enough. 5k damage is great, but the same was done by Floki, and yeah, I'm not sure if they could have maybe with a couple of smaller adjustments managed to win it out in the end.
I mean, gotta say, I think this could have gone either way, and that's really the danger for CTR. You have to really close out games like this. I want to, keep repeating that. A game where you're so far ahead, even it may not seem they were that far ahead, they really, really were. It's like, you cannot let it slip. You really cannot let it slip. It's very dangerous.
No. What they did, and that's the first point on the board for CTR. It's not all over, obviously, but we mentioned that momentum is a thing. We saw it how W took 2 rounds in a row on Runeberg at the beginning of the stream. So if Lotus wants to get some points, then now would be a great time for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it would be the best time, almost,
No. I mean, we have loaded into the game. Let's see what the teams have prepared. I think it's also important to say that while those teams might be like pretty much at the end of the standings now, they're still like, fairly top level teams that can, can execute if they have the chance to, so neither of the teams should be immediately counted out.
No, and again, this is a very important match for both of them. In my opinion, it's a very important match. The loser of this is almost guaranteed to not make it to phase 2. The winner of this has a real opportunity.
I mean, still, like, I would say a slimmer of opportunity. I'm not saying that they are already out of the water, because so far Sicarios seems to be like the next weakest link, and Sicarios won against both of them already, so this comparison is definitely not in their favor.
Bans E4 from Lotus, BZ from CTR gives us a CTR lineup with an IHM and Force B, a 4 to the U, Kenan, you want a type, and a Dravets.
I mean, EBR is sometimes even banned on this map. This time again, the E4 and the BZ. Lotus with a double B. I mean, B is usually a tank that doesn't want to face off against types if they can't just close the gap, and it's only one type. So I guess that is something that speaks for Lotus. Also, 3k HP advantage is great for them, but the plane from Herman, from Koricek was great. Spotted all 5 tanks going to that side. So they have quite good info. Herman in the EBR makes it through immediately, while also the radio tower is being taken. So maybe they don't know that the EBR went through and spotted them because they think it's from the radio tower. So Herman will be a pain in their side. Important thing though is this 15 seconds on the cap, because the RT strike will not be taken in time, as Jordan can reset it immediately. Do you think Woodok makes it there?
No, he doesn't.
I mean, Herman can maybe give a decap.
No, they missed. Ooh, there is a decap from Herman. That was really last second. That was as last second as they get. You know, one more second and it was all over. So Woodok is now blocking the cap, and thankfully they had Herman to deny that. But that was a really close call. I don't think it's something they should be relying on just as much. But now you can see Lotus immediately reacting off of this. The double light tank is a really, really hard thing to play with for the side of CTR. They're going to have to try and do it somehow. Woodok, does he get another shot? No, he doesn't. Froley is at this A2 position, but Evo is dead as well in the first B. He got pushed and died, and CTR is down 4,000 HP just like that.
Yeah, and it's not just the HP, right? The firepower with double light tank, you mentioned it. They don't have the armor because the only really armor tank left is the Dravek. There's no type to kind of shield anyone. The K91 is great with DPM that doesn't want to be pushed onto either the full 30Us or hunting down Floki, who gets some assistance from the RT strike and the EBR, but that will not be enough. Botchans will pick him up, and Lotus still all their tanks alive.
Yeah, I mean, it's over. Really good opening for Lotus for this battle, you know.
Frontline misses as well.
I mean, it's just a really good opening from them in the beginning for this battle against the double light. And EBR is not really a damage dealer. You know, he does get the last second decap, but the problem is Woodok's committed, you know. And then Evo in the first B also got pushed in the meantime and died as well. So it's like, you're down 2 tanks and then the half of your team left are light tanks.
Yeah. Okay. That is, I guess, a good thing for us, because we will definitely have at least 4 rounds of gameplay between these teams, not a 3-0 for sure. And after we have seen this, I would say I am not so unhappy with my Lotus prediction, because this one was well done and proactively played by Lotus. And the other one, the one that CTR won, sure, they were the deserved victors, but it wasn't clean whatsoever.
No, it wasn't. So now 1-1 coming out of Pilsen, where Lotus's battle was convincing, CTR's was not. What was the second map again? Himmels, right?
I think so, yeah. And then Cliff tiebreaker.
I mean, so far, this match kind of going as expected. I really didn't think that one or the other was going to do some sort of a blowout, and it does seem to be that way. Surely Himmels could change the narrative, but so far from what I've seen, this could be a long one.
No, and I think neither of the team wants to get tiebreaker points only, because that's not really enough for them at this point.
No, of course not. You want full and clean points. Having to give 1 point to the other team is not ideal, to be honest. It really isn't. Because it goes from having to take a point, I think, then to having to win a match.
No. Taking a look at the post-game stats, it seems like I was pretty right with the Jordan 50B there, making short work of Evo. You mentioned it, like he was picked up quite immediately. 4 shots fired by Evo. He did his damage, but not enough, and you said it as well. The EBR is not really a combat tank. He brought a very important decap, but that was kind of it. The remaining damage was like 2 shots when it didn't matter anymore, and like a bit of assistance damage there when his 430U got pushed. So, yeah, I mean, good stuff coming out by Lotus. Frawley, as usual, like high up on the standings. But do you really care if the enemy K91 does like close to 4K in a battle that is that one-sided?
No, not really. I mean, he was the only one actually getting to shoot anything in this battle, you know? He was sitting at a A1, A2, they were pushing Evo, and he was getting some shots, some strikes. That's kind of expected, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also one of those things that if you're doing an active push, you know that you will get out the gun from Evo, deal your damage, and it's just a thing that you have to take into consideration, that there will be some K91 or some other tank that is coming from the second line. It could be a 140 as well, assisting the tanks that are being pushed on.
Who do we favor on Himmels, if anybody?
I don't know. I feel like both teams have shown that they are capable of you know, like executing, but they're also capable of doing a lot of individual mistakes. And I think with Himmelsdorf, it's very hard to surprise these days because, you know, this whole like T57 traps and stuff is not really something we see working out that often anymore. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it's like the surprise effect of it is no longer that big. So I think it just comes down to focus. Like, be extra careful, be extra focused, and have the concentration to penetrate your shots, hit your shots. Don't greed if you're in a situation where you can be shot. Don't lose HP. Keep them for late game if possible. 50B and E4 banned. I would say not really a big surprise. And we see triple Dravek on Lotus side combined with a mix of everything. 430, CS, Batchet, and Bliska. On CTR's side, we also have a bunch of different tanks. The IS-4, maybe one to point out. Not like the super standard stuff, but also no longer something crazy. What about the E5?
I don't know, like it has really good DPM, but with the introduction of the Dravets, I'm not really sure the E5 serves too much purpose. Maybe for a specific position where all you wanted to do is farm, but as an overall tank, I don't know. I don't think it's that good this season.
I mean, it can hide its cupola, right? Like Himmelsdorf has a lot of options where you can kind of like half side scrape, half be held down, and that's where the E5 can shine. Obviously, it gives like the, I don't know, like side effect or something as well of having one extra tank roll, which gives the boost to Frawley's Dravek. But it's only one Dravek that profits from it either way, so I'm not sure if that is important enough. We can see there is a bit of a fight starting off in the north. Cody and Floki versus Jordan, and obviously Sokol, who hasn't been spotted. Tukar in the Bliskavice, also kind of hiding behind, or just being a bit slower. Sokol puts in a good shot into Cody, might even get a second one. Yes, he does. But Evo, Herman, and Frawley are closing in on the Dravek of David. And that is very expensive.
Extremely expensive, to be honest. David is going to die in that Dravets, and CTR has found a weak point here to punch in the numbers that are needed to be punched in. And Marusha is now in trouble as well in his Dravets. There's a lot of crossfire coming in, though. I think CTR's got to be careful with their approach down this lane. You can see Herman wanted to get the shot, didn't end up working out. Woodog there in trouble as well, but Marusha is going to die at the same time, and I think that for CTR, the kills should be the most important factor here. They do get him out of the game, and now the chase continues on towards Tarks, who's having a 1v1 against that 430U, but I don't think that Tarks can win. There's some shots coming in from Floki.
I don't think it's a fair 1v1.
No, not really.
There's a lot of assistance coming in from the team in white, like Woodog helping out, even like, I don't know if this was a shield or what exactly it was, but Tukar now has arrived in the Bliskavice as well, and taking a look at the HP, Lotus still has plenty of them, but the Bliska might just get tracked. He gets in the reload, puts down Fronter. Lotus is draining their last remaining tanks, and CTR with 6 still alive. The Batchat's also coming off reload now, and pretty good implementation of this 2-line push there. they got the info that there was too much stuff on the hill, 3 tanks. I have to say, like, Tuka and the Bliska took very long to kind of get into the fight, and then was also just like eliminated by just too many tanks surrounding him. Yeah, well-deserved point for CTR. I would like to see how the E5 did as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game from CTR across the board. They found a weak point to push on, and they just never stopped anymore after that. They found then the next tank, although the peaks there in that lane were not the greatest, let's be real. I mean, especially Herman in the Type 5 kind of sitting there to get owned in return. But it was enough, right? They pick up one, and they pick up the second, and the third one gets isolated. Lotus is forced to re-push back in, and HP was good, but number of the guns in a fight like this is the deciding factor. You can be up like 3k HP. If they have 2 more guns than you shooting you the whole time, that 3k don't matter that much.
No, I mean, Jordan was on the hill with the CS for quite long, and I mentioned it, Tuka and the Bliska was as well very late to arrive in the fight. I don't think he will be top in the leaderboard either. Let's take a look at the post-game stats. There we go. Bliska Witze has dealt 3 shots of damage. Well, that's not enough.
Yeah. So, good stuff. The E5 didn't do anything special, no?
No, I mean, Evo did his damage, but like he damaged 3 different tanks. I just checked it. It was basically like he pushed, did a shot into the Dravek, and then kind of like continued shooting the same tank. So yes, you get this like, I think 6.5% reload reduction, which is nice, right? But then until he arrived to shoot the other tanks, he didn't really stack up that, what is it called, bounty hunter ability. So I mean, it worked out, but I didn't really feel like the E5 was like, you know, like the tank that made the difference.
Well, me and Banter are potentially on the money.
Well, one more round for you guys to close out a perfect prediction. I guess my train has departed there on Himmelsdorf. I was thinking Lotus maybe could turn it around today, but it was not the case so far. It could still end up being a 2-3 or 3-2, like Key predicted. But with the bans coming in now, we have E4 and T57 excluded. And I don't think we will see another E5.
I don't think it's either, but look at Lotus. 1 BC, 1 CS, 5 Dravets. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I was told it's called Draftsy if it's if it's multiple of them, but
unlucky.
It's an interesting composition. We have the double 50B on the side of CTR, and Dravex are alright against them. I mean, you can go Haldan pretty well and like mitigate some of those clips. Obviously, if an autoloader is getting into engagement, it really needs to make sure that all the shots get penetrated. There is an aggressive move of those 50Bs done now immediately towards the middle. Frawley is able to put in a shot, which gives him the ability of inspiring, but as the cooldown of it was significantly prolonged, it's very important to time it properly. Also, only level 1 right now available for him. Sokol taking actually quite a lot of damage. One shot as well from the back, and that's an immediate kill pickup.
Fantastic move there from the 50Bs through the middle, straight into the 5 line. They get Sokol, and now they got to continue here on towards Botsians and the Dravets. He's holding up front, but Front are in return taking so much damage. The burst is there. He will survive to do at least 1, maybe 2 more shots. They're kind of neglecting to finish him right now. Maybe he gets another shot out. That'd be a little bit more than he should have already. He does get it. Froley in the return comes up from behind and finishes off Botsians, who was backing off, and now the 50Bs in back once more. They're not really getting the greatest engagement, though. They're going to be forced to push back out because Kodicek is getting pushed by Tarks and David. Marusha falling back towards the 5 line. In the meantime, on the 8 line, we got a 1v1. Evo versus Stuka. The 1v1 going on there. So far, it seems like Evo might actually win that one. Tarks is the last survivor. Make that survived for a second, but dead in 2. As now it's just Marusha and Jordan left standing, and CTR take the reins on Himmelsdorf. The close games of Bilson are a distant memory at this point in time. As they come back on Himmels, they set the record straight, and the only thing that will be remembered from this match is that they had a win and Lotus had a loss, keeping their chances for the phase 2 alive. For Lotus, it's familiar feelings.
Yeah, I mean, Lotus kind of like reaching the end of that match with their last tank standing there being Jordan. He might actually do like a shot or two more. He still has the ability. He can get some extra strike damage in, but I think he pretty much understands that it's now out of his hand. He even gets like a bit of a outplay there onto Frawley now, trading nicely into the 140, but 140 fires back. That damage doesn't really matter anymore. The Blisker might not be able to pick up Jordan, but could put in a good shot, use the ability to get into the fight a bit faster. There's actually quite some armor in this kind of angle, so maybe Jordan has to hope that Evo doesn't get the gun depression. Evo, actually with a good shot, puts in another 800. Jordan picks him up, actually makes it away from the 50B that is chasing him, but 3 tanks and 4000 HP against him. I don't think he stands a chance even against the first tank coming in, as the 50B is fully reloaded and on 950 HP.
Yeah, nonetheless, you know, CTR, good job on Himmels. Finding really good openings. This one here on the 5 line was very good with the B, Stefan, Sokol as well. And that's where, you know, the lineup from CTR just excels a little bit at that burst with those Bs versus the sustain that Lotus had. But it was a really good round from CTR.
Yeah, and with that, they get the full 3 points. That is very important for them. They will end up on 4 points, directly behind Sicarios and Cashback. And maybe they can still make some magic happen. Good stuff again from the CS, but a lot of this damage was no longer really relevant towards the end. Yeah, I mean, the initial push was just very good. We shouldn't blame it on either Sokol or Botchans, because he was just like the first one to get pushed out. Good pen rates as well from CTR, roughly 90%. They just picked up Sokol, and I can tell you Sokol did exactly what he could. He fired 3 times, did 3 shots of damage, and then took 250B clips and 1 shot into the back. And that was it for our 3rd match of today.
Yeah, and this was an important one. Again, to reiterate just how important it was, it gives CTR a fighting chance for phase 2. If Sicarios loses against Hit and Run, as we all predict without taking any points, and CTR is able to get a point here or there, they are going to go over that position number 6.
No, I mean, they need to still put in the work. They still have, I think, not the worst, but not the best teams ahead of them.
I can check real quick if you want. Give me a second.
They play against Weekend already?
I'm checking. So this was match day 5, right? So match day 6, CTR versus W, and match day 7, Cashback versus CTR. So really not...
I mean, Cashback is on a losing streak right now. So maybe.
Sure, and Sicarios still has Mafia and Weekend to go. So not easy matches for any of those teams. But we have one more match in store for you guys today. But before that, we're going to take a quick little break and get it away with some replays.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
Hello and welcome back. Looks like Ducky is allowed to make a break after his successful prediction, and Banter is back. Last game of today, Hit versus Sicarios.
Yeah, and an important one for Hit to reclaim their top spot at the top of the leaderboard, and also for Sicarios, because if they lose their next few games, there is a chance that CTR might overtake them and take the or get into the second phase of the competition. At the moment, even with CTR taking the full 3 points from Lotus, they are still relegation threatened.
Yeah, I mean, with the last match obviously turning out the way it did, Lotus is now more or less eliminated from competition. There are some edge cases, I think, if they win like 2 times 3-0 and Sicarios loses both times 3-0 and today as well 3-0, something like that. But yeah, I think Hit and Run would be willing to help them with it. So far, they had a pretty good run. Haven't dropped a single match. They lost a point in the first match to CTR, as we have discussed a bunch of times today already. We'd start on Ghost Town, an interesting map that we have seen a bunch of different things already. And one of the top damage dealers there of this season, Rishek, as well in the middle. I think he was like close to scratching the 4K, but I'll have to see if against Hit and Run he can make it happen, because, you know, his former teammates, even like joint WCI winners, are definitely a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, and if he's getting 4K in a team like this, because bear in mind, when you're winning, you do more damage because you're winning more games, just means you're killing more enemies. So if he's getting up to 4K in the Sicarios team, it's a show that it's an impressive amount of damage, beating out some of the boys who are winning. Ketsai, the star player here, 3.4, not the highest, but look at that KD ratio, 3.2. I think that is the highest I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's a team player, you know, he takes the kills as well.
Well, you can do 10K and lose, or 0 and win, right? So you got to make the kills. You know, that old adage, possibly one of the oldest phrases in the game, gun in the game. It's important to make those kills. So Rhymmetal, full 30U, 50B. I'm pretty sure everyone in this hit and run team can play light tank to some kind of high level degree, but obviously there are specialists. And going into this next match, community predictions around as expected, but I think Sicarios are you know, I remember watching them on the first day against Cashback, and they lost 3-0, but sometimes it is the way you lose. When you watch Lotus lose, you can tell, okay, it's not great. When you watch Sicarios lose, there's some potential here. Little tweaks could get them some serious points.
Yeah, and I mean, they basically won the mandatory matches against the teams at the bottom of the standings already, overcoming CTR and Lotus. Today, we start on Ghost Town, obviously, kind of like Tundra, the perma ban for Hit and Run. Cliff banned against them, also nothing too surprising. We will continue on Sand River. Rumberg banned, Himmelsdorf banned, same for Westfield and Pilsen. Ensk could be the tiebreaker, and I think from our predictions, most of us said we will not get there today.
Yeah, I was a little bit harsh with my prediction. Apparently everyone else was as well, but yeah, Tundra, all teams being too afraid to play on the mighty Tundra. I think it's because it's one of those maps where you it's kind of like Cliff in a way. You can't really make a strat and win it over player skill. A lot of it, Tundra, can be down to RNG and positioning. It's a map where the weaker teams can potentially pick up points against you in something that's not really in your control. So I think it's a safe bet just to ban it. But yeah, the other maps, we've seen a lot of those today. I think we saw 2 Ghost Towns, 2 Sand Rivers. So we're pretty familiar with it at that point. If we even get to, was the tiebreaker Westfield?
Ensk.
Ensk, sorry. Westfield in the brain. If we get to Ensk, then could go either way, but obviously we're always going to favor Hit, and I don't think any of us are predicting this to go to the full tiebreaker. There hasn't been many tiebreakers this season. It's been a weird one. Even when the top teams play each other, it seems to be just a straight 3-0 for one of the teams.
I think we had 3 tiebreakers in total, right? Like Hit versus CTR, then W versus Weekend, and today Mafia versus Weekend.
Yeah, so we've
you were actually the most generous one today.
No, it wasn't. What?
I mean, you said you were.
No. It's
no. It's wrong.
If you hand is 3-1, so someone go. If it does end up being 3-1, I will take the point.
You'll take it. I see.
No, but we've played 15 matches so far. Like I just calculated it, and yeah, only what would you say 3 or 4 tiebreakers? It's not that much. A lot of games have been 3-0s. That's why I kind of went for the 3-0 here, because I thought, yeah. And your prediction, I need to accuse you of something. Your prediction keeps changing. Because you're the first
I'm the first one to put it in.
Yeah, you're the first one to put it in, but then when I go back later, it's changed.
No, because then maybe I saw the map pick and
put it straight in to put everyone into full sense of security, then you do something,
Maybe.
You give one team a penalty and then change the points. I know how to.
Yeah, let's jump into battle. It looks like the teams are ready. Looking at the tanks band, it's EBR on both sides. A bunch of 50Bs there on the side of Sicarios, 2 to be fair. 2 strike mediums with a Hurricane and K91. No light tank and triple Dravek. Ketsai picking the T100, even though he had the choice of an RHM. How do you feel about that one?
I mean, I like the T100 on these 8-0 line. There's a lot of low ground positions where T100 can survive. Hit and Run picking a very player skill lineup and a very safe lineup. 3 strike mediums, it gives you a lot of versatility and also countering the cap play, so triple cap going on, but that's realistically not going to go through because those 3 mediums. Click abandons it already, goes through the double 50B. They want to
look at DJ. He's getting around the corner there.
Yeah.
Like the 50Bs are having to go a long way.
Yeah, they got spotted by the K91 in the corner, and now it's not great for Sicarios. They want to use these 50Bs to catch something, but they're not catching anything at the moment. The K91 and K1, the K91 of Monster and Panzer Fury covering these tanks of Decker and DJ.
Oh my god, DJ again gets around the corner. The decaps should be fairly doable for them. Obviously, there is a big strike available, putting it completely back to 0 as well. Now, it is important to say they only have 1 strike medium with a small strike, and it doesn't really look like they will have a different option of getting a decap. So the Kennedy ones will have to come a bit closer. 12 seconds left. DJ being pushed on now. He has not enough HP to withstand both of those 50Bs, but I think there was a bounce. Risek has 2 shots left. He doesn't need a good roll. He just needs to pen. And yeah, the assistance is coming in. It looks fairly alright for Sicarios. They have a gun advantage, but they still need to catch the strugglers from all the sides that have been distributing their tanks quite well to build up some crossfires.
Yeah, the thing is for Sicarios, it's like fighting needles at the moment. No matter where you peek, you get poked for 320 by these backline K91s and little hits of 100 or 250 with those strikes. Decker goes in to clean up. He'll be able to pick up Click and Addy if he goes for him. And the problem is Sicarios, they weren't in that bad of a position at one point where these 50Bs made the trap, and Hit and Run only had 1 strike left for decapping, but the bleed to pick up DJ when they overpeaked was just massive, and from there the cap had to be abandoned, and now there's just no realistic way to come back in. Nico will give one to Monster. Addy might try and give another one, but bear in mind that K91 is like a 4.5 second reload. It's crazy DPM. It's such a hard game for Sicarios. They tried to catch Hit and Run off guard, but really strong play from Hit and Run. Just anticipated DJ running away on a perfect timing. The K91s were set up perfectly. They take this lineup with so many K91s just because, one, it gives you a lot of backline support. So if Sicarios want to pounce on either a 50B or a Dravek, the K91s are always covering, but also these small strikes just mean it's such a hard game for Sicarios, because when you're the weaker team, you want to catch an enemy. You either want to be super aggressive or you want to be super defensive. You can't really play a cool game, but with these K91s, it's just so difficult. to play aggressive.
No, and with all those quick reloads that you have just mentioned, they managed to pick up another kill. Ketsai now as well helping in, and like should be the next one to fall. Gets 200 extra damage there with a little strike, but 5 tanks and 5k HP remaining for Hit and Run, who secure their first point. And I mean, they were not the underdog, and they made that very clear from the start.
Yes, wasn't a bad round for the Sicarios. I thought when when DJ ran away and the 50Bs were just taking damage, I thought, okay, this is going to be just over. But when it got to the point where they had 3 in the cap, 2 50Bs on that corner, and Hit and Run only had 1 strike left, I thought, hang on, there's some potential here for them to cap it out. The decap angles are covered by the 50Bs, and there's only 1 strike to go. But when the 50Bs overpeaked and clipped out DJ, they made the kill, but the damage they took was unsustainable. Yeah, they killed
Look at the pen rates.
They drop almost 4k at 98%. Especially with K91 sniping on range. The fact that they're penning practically every shot is very impressive.
No. And with that all being said, obviously, I have to say the strike damage is surprisingly low. I mean, 850 from both the K91s plus a bit of Punch Series damage. So, like, the big strike, I think just maybe hit two tanks each for both of them.
Sicarios'
right? Like,
tanks were, like, almost always on the move. They were always driving. You know, the 50Bs were driving. They drived onto DJ, the Dravix in the cap. Yeah, they took some strike damage in the cap, but they were almost driving, which means it's like placing a strike is a skill in and of itself, because you need to anticipate where the enemy is going to go, and sometimes that's not always the easiest. And we've seen in previous seasons where 2 teams, for example, played CSs on the hill on Cliff, but 1 team has more strike damage. It is definitely a skill to place these strikes, but I don't think strikes were the main thing, especially when you're playing K91. You know, your reload is so quick, you almost don't have time to place the strike.
no. And on top of that, while obviously Sicarios was getting all the map control pretty much immediately, especially on the 1-2 line, they weren't really able to do anything of it. They drove past the strike on the 1 line, obviously, trying to use their 50Bs to catch DJ off guard, but the communication and Hit must have been on point, with Monster in the K91 spotting the aggression, and then DJ making it really like all around the city area in the northern parts of the sea line there. So if Hit and Run continues playing this focused and on this level, it will be a very tough one for for Sicarios to get a point on the board here on Ghost Town.
Yeah, bans EBR in the beginning. I'm quite surprised EBR gets banned. I mean, I don't think either team is going to take that tank, even if it was unbanned. Even in previous seasons, we never saw EBR taken.
But keep in mind, it was buffed. It was buffed quite significantly with the option of basically outspotting enemy light tanks. So if it's a secondary tank,
I still feel the plane is too strong to.
But do you need 2 planes? Like, imagine, like, I don't know, Miku picking now an EBR.
Yeah, not wrong, actually. And yeah, we can see again on the Sicario side, the T100. 1 T100, 1 Rheinmetall. Bear in mind that T100 a little bit lower profile. So on the 9-line bushes, there's a lot of low ground there. Like, a few undulations in the terrain. So the T100 can play quite well there, pretty safe. RHM is way too big for that, but... Ooh. Tried to take the info tower, opts not to do it. That's really risky by Mayo. Nice dodge.
I mean, like dodges it, but
yeah, but now
obviously he has his own he has his own strike, so Tsek will basically have the same situation. And Alex quite aggressively in his bed shed there, making his way forward.
Very aggressive. It's in front of his light tanks. That's a bold one, to say the least.
Okay, looks like initial trades were going slightly in favor of Hit. Tsek this time basically just drives out. Obviously, he loses the advantage of capping. But
you
yeah.
see something there. Like placed his plane behind Tsek, so he's
no. Like doesn't have a plane.
Damage. No, not plane. Sorry, the artillery strike. But then what happened just now? He placed it right on him, I mean, it's only 100 damage, but this is what I'm saying when I say using strikes as a skill. You need to anticipate what the enemy's going to do. If you place it right on Tizek, Tizek is going to drive backwards. Because he's going to get decapped anyway. You might as well avoid the 100 damage.
But keep in mind that you... Oh yeah, I mean, that's a good spot on the light tank. You mentioned it before, the T100 is very like flat from the profile, so he gets spotted, which is great for Hit to get the information. Obviously also the trades onto the Type 5 there are nice. Rishek losing quite significant chunks of HP. Milo as well getting spotted again, taking another shot, but the T100, and that was what I wanted to say to close my point, has enough cover there to get unspotted and save again.
I'm a bit confused what the point of Alex is in the bat chat. He hasn't denied the Dravik of Tizek from taking the strike. Tizek does have the strike. Or
maybe it's just like you want to kind of like put the bat chat in a position where it can kind of like suicide into a light tank.
I mean,
like, you know, like you have 2 light tanks to protect the bat chat spotting wise.
Yeah, but that
and
doesn't
then
make sense. Why?
I don't know.
Like if it was a light tank forward who spotted another light tank, then you still have a light tank left, right? It would be 1 for 1. I would, in this scenario, I would not trade a light tank for a bat chat. I don't understand the point.
Yeah, because like even if you kill the enemy light tank, right, you don't have the firepower in the end to kind of like close it out nicely. Good shooting there coming in from the tanks of Hit and Run, dropping another salvo into Ari, who gets spotted again, by the way. And yeah, Ketsai penetrates his shot. Tsek does the same. Panfree fluffs it, but another good shot from Ketsai will be giving him another plane. And yeah, you said it, like now you can see Alex started clipping out onto the Dravik. He's now 2 out of 3.
He only has the cupola.
2 out of 4. And 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 out of 5, and they already lost their first K91.
So you see where those trees are, the like little trees in the buildings right in front of Tizek. That is a minor bump in the terrain, which gives Tizek almost like a little bit of a hold down. Where the bushes are is a little bit of a low ground, which means from the red line, it's really hard to hit Tizek. But this is such a strange game by Sicarios. They have Tizek right where they want him. There are ways to kill him, but throwing Adi away for nothing, and now the Batchat just leaves. It's such a strange choice for Sicarios. I don't really know what they want to do at the moment. They're now abandoning the side. They do still have those double lights. I'm surprised they would opt to abandon it completely. I feel like if you have the double light, you kind of want to keep that map control. Make sure Tizek can't leave. I mean, I doubt Tizek's going to leave at all. He doesn't know if he's perma-spotted or not.
Maybe it's a mind game. Like, you know, like that they believe that Hit wouldn't dare to repush them there. And that's why they use all their forces on the other side. But look at this damage. Another 1,000 damage for free. Yeah, flying into Rishek. A monster is not even spotted, and he just like puts in shot after shot. Sure, on this distance, you mentioned it, sniping with the K91 is not the easiest task. But like Rishek doesn't have anything to shoot at so far. Now monster gets spotted, gets behind the rubble. The Dravik takes a shot for him, but yeah, Rishek is on 400 HP. A bit of healing might prevent him to go down to a strike and a shot of Monster, who carefully retreats, takes a shot in return from one of the Type 5s. I think it was Click, I'm not sure. But yeah, Rishek is down, and Monster will use his ability now and eliminate Rishek immediately.
It's a really shocking thing, actually.
Oh, look how aggressive Milo is.
Yeah, but Rishek is one of the most experienced players in 7v7. I think only probably Kulmi Piotr has more experience. They've been playing since probably 2013, 2014.
I mean, Deka.
Oh, well, Deka as well, but Rishek has also played a very, very long time. But the fact...
I mean, we have Daki in our team, right? Like, the caster team also has a lot of experience.
Well, yeah, the experience doesn't count for everything, but the fact that Rishek did not anticipate the fact that Hit Run would rotate to C1 and just basically throws his life away is really disappointing to see. You want to see players of that experience at that high level. He's probably the most experienced and highest level player in the whole Sicarios team. And throwing his life away like that is not the way. And now it's an even more difficult game because Sicarios have this double light, which means you can't really push anything. I mean, maybe they can strike DJ to death, but with 3.5 minutes to go, 2 tanks down, Tizek is even bold enough to realize, okay, I'm now not even spotted. He gets spotted now because of the T100 rotating. But he's even just happy to kind of spot with his face. If he takes damage, then he knows what shoots him. Now he's got the information. He takes 300, sure, but he knows that Mayo is on this side, and he just needs to sit safe now. And it's just a very strange game by Sicarios.
It's just also like, I don't really feel like there is a proper plan, right?
No, same. That's exactly how I feel. I feel there's no plan. Let's just put the Batchat in front of the lights and do nothing with it. Let's rotate to the other side and hope for luck. I mean, it really speaks to a lack of a plan. It really does.
I mean, Milo actually might be able to get a timing and potentially decap the Dravek from taking a shot, taking a strike. But there's another strike that is being taken. Tisek actually gets the strike. The HPs got a bit closer again. I mean, that is something that we can say. Hit was around 5k up, now it's roughly 2. And there isn't a lot of supportive fire there for Tisek. So maybe they got a bit overeager there on the side of Hit. But on the other hand, Tisek does not really have to fear about anything because he did what he was supposed to do. He held that side for quite long, might actually get the reload. He does, and picks up he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Still 2 guns advantage, and yeah, I mean, taking a look at this Type 5, it's 3k HP out of the 8k remaining, and doesn't really have a lot to do there.
Yeah, I think it's more down to the guns. I think Sicarios were decisive in a weird way. They put the Batchat, the K91, further forward than the light tanks. And that's such a strange thing, you know. If Addy survives, there's a lot of potential in this game, but losing Addy, yes, it's not a pushing tank, which meant that when they made the rotation, line, they wouldn't have been able to push the Dravik anyway, even if Addy was with them. But it puts them in such a bad position because they lose that map control. And there are ways to kill Tizek there if you're on the red line. We saw it. It might take a few clips from the Batchat or a few lucky Cupola shots from the K91. The shots are really hard. Especially with the K91 on that red line, because the K91 is so low to the ground, that there is a way to do it over time.
But I think it's so much better to put them on the 0 line, try to find an elevated angle from there, and you don't have to clip out immediately 5 shots. If in the Batchat you just do maybe 4 shots of which you pen 2 or 3, then you're already having enough charge on your prestige bar to get a better reload and have a second try, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Batchat wasn't pressured there, he's behind that little rock pile, which means he's safe from almost all angles. Even if they plane him, I don't think he'd take
his top damage.
That much damage. Yeah, I'm not surprised, because he was in a position where he was in a solid holding position, and Sicarios couldn't push him or do anything against him. I'm not surprised he's top damage. I mean, you also see the strike damage, you see the blocked. Deca 5k blocked as well. The pen rates are not in Sicarios' favor here, but Reject with 0 as well. That's not what you want to see, but this was just a very strange game. Addy and Alex could have killed Tizek over time. Now, I know it's not that simple, right? That makes it sound very simple. The shots are not easy, and hit and run won't just sit there while Tizek is dying. They will make a move or try to counter Addy or Alex with planes. But it's a better option than what they had here. Even if Alex only hits 1 or 2 out of the 5, if he does it enough over a 2 or 3 minute period, Tizek will die.
With all that being said and done, we are now heading into potentially the last game of today, Sand River. Sicarios is, kind of with their back against the wall now. The odds are stacked against them, as while they picked Sand River, Hit was obviously able to select the side. And you guys mentioned it earlier, there is definitely a small advantage if you're picking the side. Hit a team that we have seen do quite interesting things. Do you think they will come up with something creative or new on Sand River, or will they just play something fairly standard and you just don't do big mistakes?
I think this will be the most standard strategy we've ever seen. I mean, that's basically what they did on Ghost Town. They had a few tanks forward, K91's behind. The strikes mean Sicarios can't do decap rushes, and they just let do cap rushes, and they just let Sicarios push into them because Sicarios hope to catch them out. But Hit and Run are such an experienced team, you know, they'll do crazy and special things against Mafia and W and Cashback. Against Sicarios, 2-0 up, and they get to choose the side on Sand River, I think they're just going to play something incredibly standard. They'll ban STRV and do some, I don't know, E50M, K91 things.
Well, not a big surprise. At least one of the teams banning the STRV. Dravek banned by Hit and Run. They're coming in with a quite aggressive lineup. Double E50M and the 430U. We mentioned the Yo tank, a good choice there as well. The IS-7 being picked over Dravek, which obviously Hit and Run banned themselves. Triple K91 on the side of Sicarios. Double IS-7, Yo tank and E50M. And obviously important to point out is Katsai playing the only light tank in this round.
Yeah, Rizek opting for low noise instead of HP. Kind of curious to see if he has any special things planned. Plane comes out in the beginning, 3 tanks spotted, the double IS-7 and Addy in the 50M. It's a pretty good split by Sicarios in the beginning. Hit and Run opening pretty passive, double 50M in the base, which is quite a surprise. I do like Sicarios lineup actually. The more I watch OLS, the more I'm starting to think I'm liking this K91. It's been on the up for a while, but now with the changes to the strike, I think it's very viable.
I mean, I can give you a small spoiler. The K91 will be not as good anymore as before after the mid-season patch.
Nerf it into the ground, Phil. Make it turretless.
Okay, Alex took a shot from the back, and on the offside, we saw Click taking actually also quite some damage, like roughly 1.1k there, while T-Sec in the IS-7 is still full HP. Now a strike is being taken by Monster. The same can be said about Adi in the middle area there. And
it's really bold by Click, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, like, Click is very aggressive, and he gets punished.
Yeah, but he's getting really good info. Panzerfury and DJ being spotted on this crossing. He's taken a bit of damage to be here, but it's not bad. I don't think Click is that well covered. He has Mayo covering with Alex. The E50M of Adi in the south, he's taken the strike, so he's now in a position to cover. Info point being taken by DJ. Alex Click pulls back a bit. Not sure about that one. I think he was in a good position because he was spotting rotations. I'm not sure he would have taken damage, but Miko and Like are in horrible positions. They're in this kind of awkward low ground where they're being punished, and the Reject in the base can't really do much against that. DJ does take the info point, so full info for Hit and Run. The damage on these K91s, I'm not sure what the plan was of taking that position. Maybe they just wanted to deny the mid-ridge, the crown area.
No, but look at the HP difference now.
Yeah, they bled
the cap is completely reset. They still have the ability of kind of like committing in there with potentially like a healthy E50M, something like that. Decha and the Yo tank is still very healthy as well. And I mean, this tank is just like here and there collecting a shot of damage and just like boosting its own DPM by sniping across. I have to say, so far, in either of the rounds of Sicario, either they had a plan and it didn't work out at all, or they just feel like they didn't have any plan at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's some potential on this one, but there's a lot of outstanding. Miku has left that C0 position, so he won't get pushed by the E50M anymore. They're making a rotation. I was a bit worried about the IS-7 of Click, but he is getting more cover now. Rotation is being made, cap up to 41 seconds. And bear in mind, there's only the strike of Monster info tower being taken by DJ. Once he does that, the strike will get popped onto that IS-7. I'm not sure which team I favor. Obviously, the HP is heavily in Hit and Run's favor, but the position from both of the Ghost Town games, I think this is the game where if something's going to happen for Sicarios, it's this. Because they do have control over both those strikes. And both of the tanks of Tizek and the O-tank of Deca are kind of stuck there. The Click is being heavily punished for that.
I mean, you know, are they stuck with Hit and Run, or are they just like stuck you know.
Yeah,
Like,
you're locked in here with me.
I mean, Decha has been able to shoot 3 different tanks, which basically gives him like close to 20% reduced reload. That's not insignificant, and the moment that this Yo gets pushed, that would be a very heavy push and a very expensive one.
Yeah, it's a brutal display of player skill by hit and run. They don't need to do anything. Every few seconds, they get a pot shot into Sicarios. HP was already in hit and run's favor in the beginning, and now it's 6.5k. Mayo goes in this position to try and get some shots, but you know what's going to happen. He can get repushed at any time. Click is now moving to that corner because Deca was pulled back, but Tizek doesn't care. He's just going straight for Mayo, and he knows he can do it. DJ coming from the other angle. They're going to take some damage for this, but the kill will be made here. And once the kill's made, that's gun advantage for hit and run. Mayo even drives into the rock. Not what you want to see. Driving license revoked.
And I mean, in the meantime, Rishik as well drops to 150. There are RT strikes being used on either of the sides, but it's 2 kills now on the side of hit and run. I mean, the HP advantage is... It's basically dictating how this game is going to end. It's 6k left. Make that 5 and make that 4 immediately. I mean, Decha from the sideline picks up the kill, picks up another shot of damage, and now in the later stages of this game, after having racked up some of those bounty hunter hits now, he has so much DPM.
You need to explain to me how that skill works, because I played it in random. So
it's pretty easy. It's very easy. So it counts how many different targets you hit. I mean, you need to penetrate them. And for every different target that you hit, you get 6.5% reload reduction.
Because I shot 2 different people and the skill didn't go up, and then one day I checked and the skill was full, so still getting used to that one. But in this round, this was what I would call a brutal display of player skill. This was nothing but just experience and player skill. Now, I watched a video a long time ago and reminded me of this. It was I think it was a famed tier 10 stronghold where just nobody spoke and everyone just free played and they slaughtered the enemy. They didn't even talk. They just gave a challenge to themselves and just don't talk. And this is kind of how that felt for Hit. There was no real strats here. There was just kind of, let's just take initial positions and see what the enemy do and then do what we want. And every
I mean, maybe they're just like, you know, the strats just don't shine through that much because it was just so one-sided. Like,
yeah, I mean, everything that Sicarios did, every movement, every position they took, everything they tried to do, they were just punished for it a little bit. And a little bit of punishment stacks up when that happens a lot. You know, it's like fighting a K921, right? It's only 320 if it hits you once. If it hits you 10 times in a minute, that adds up, and you can see it here. It really was just brutal, actually, to watch. Just Sicarios, who I want to believe in. You know, they're the new team. They weren't here in the previous seasons. I think they've played on a higher level than Lotus, the other kind of weaker seeded team. But this was an absolute dismantling. And Hit and Run deserved to be on top of the leaderboard at the moment because this was brutal.
No, I mean, Hit and Run definitely very strong showing again. I mean, you mentioned it as well. Like, we have different kind of 3-0s. Yeah, quick overview there. Hit and Run, you mentioned it, 5-0. But this was definitely a 3-0 that was very one-sided. There was no doubt who was the better team. Mafia and W also like quite high there in the standings, getting 4 victories, both of them losing a point to Weekend, who are 2-3 but getting an extra point. I'm actually surprised. I think Weekend should have 8 points because they won twice and stole 2 points with tiebreakers. Cashback, yeah, second loss in a row, not so nice for them. Also, like, difference in rounds now negative for them. And yeah, I mean, we mentioned it. This 3-0 for Hit and Run is helping out CTR because they're still not that far off from Sicarios.
Yeah, I mean, Lotus are completely out. There's no way that Lotus can come back from this. Even if they win 2 on round difference, it's not mathematically possible. Cashback, it's a bit concerning their position, but bear in mind the next 2 play days they have Weekend and CTR, so on paper they should be able to get a point. CTR, if they want to try and get above Sicarios, they do need to step it up in these next 2 games. They have, as I mentioned, Cashback and W, so it's not going to be easy for them. And who do Weekend have? They have Cashback and Sicarios. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for Weekend to get high up in the list as well, because I haven't seen much from Cashback recently. If Weekend can pull a win out of there and win against Sicarios, there's a chance they can crack the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, with all that being said and done, we have 2 more days left, as you mentioned, plus an extra match on Sunday where the top OCS teams, and I think it's Collapse again, this time against Beton, will be able to show off their skills. Potentially those are the teams that we will see either directly in the OLS or maybe in the relegation match. I'm really looking forward to see what the next games have to tell us. We had a tiebreaker today, a couple of pretty one-sided matches as well, but as you were mentioning matches that are still to come, there are definitely some bangers still ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see what the next day brings. I think it's a bit of a shame that Lotus is out. I was planning on getting their bundle, but things happen, and that lower area of the bracket, yeah, Lotus are out, but CTR have some potential. If they come back in the next days, we could have some drama with some unexpected teams going out.
No. Then I guess that's it for today. Thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and see you on Sunday.
Yeah, thank you, stream. We'll be there.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.